Hello and welcome back, everyone. I was starting to put together notes for a video that I wanted to do on this mod, and then I realized I kind of wanted to see, you know, we talked about building a ton of people, and this was the plan, but we really didn't build all that many. So this is the Realms of Exether mod. In particular, we have a building that produces soulrite, so it produces pops. When these, you see that they are producing 6,600 right here. Pops are being produced here every month. They get added to this, and once this bar fills, 10,000 pops are added to the province. So we are producing pops, and we didn't really lean into this quite as much as I wanted to, and I wanted to make a video on this mod, and I wanted to actually try and lean into the pops. If we look at the census data, and then we sort by religion, because these guys are getting converted to our primary culture, but they pop out as atheists. We have 6.7 million out of like 140 million, so we really didn't build the most massive amount of pops possible, really, and I wanted to try and see, because our religion won't get converted. If we sort by culture and we look at what is getting produced, the soul rot, we will see that there's 3.6 million, and 3.1 million of these guys have been converted to Raviki, which is our primary culture. So we can kind of see what's going on here, because the religion doesn't change, but we did want to run the number up, and so even though I don't think this is optimal, we are going to, oh, there's a cap on the building. I didn't even notice that before. There is a cap on this building of 30. That is interesting. Well, we are getting 15 throughput from Magical Industries throughput that we are getting off of one of these. But that is, okay, so there's a cap at 30, so this is the most we can build up. Does the cultural conversion mean that they are getting souls? Yes. If you've ever watched Bicentennial Man, this is what's happening. The soul rot are in fact getting souls. They are becoming real boys. Now, also, very unfortunately, this mod was at some point updated, which is an excellent thing, but the map was updated, which means our map has been spaghettied, which is tragic, but also indicative of progress. We encountered some problems with the map, like stuff connecting to the wrong C node and stuff like this, as we were playing this mod before, and so this is indicative of solutions to those problems, but as you can see, all the states are now funny looking states, so our save file is a little bit bricked. Hopefully it's not a lot of bit bricked, and we can still kind of do stuff. I'm not entirely sure. If this is unplayable, we won't play for very long. But I did want to try and see if we can really lean into the pop production quite a bit more. So I think we're going to try and do that. Let's see. Why don't we look at our places, all our places on the mainland where we have some soul rot production. Maybe we want to produce a little bit more. Hopefully, okay. The little bit of lag there was scary, huh? So let's produce a little bit more soul rot in these territories. Oh god, this is gonna hurt my soul playing in this. So maybe we don't play for too long, but we'll try and do this. Interestingly, we could create cultural communities, which will allow these guys to migrate. They come out as slaves, and this is something we had a really interesting time trying to think through. I think we actually made the correct decision. I think because we can build pops, we're actually supposed to stay on slavery and not benefit from the migration, but this is not quite how we did it. The front spaghetti. Look at this state. It's here, and it's here. Near, far, wherever you are. Something, something, my heart will go on. But we did want to lean into this quite a bit more. So we're going to try and do just that. She said, I can fix him. We said, we can build him. Okay, so I think most of our kind of mainlandy areas... Actually, this is also ours. Oh my god, it's so hard to tell what's ours and what's not. Okay, all this is Ravik, which is us. And notably, these things, we are going to be subsidizing them because they are producing pops. But they can also be profitable on their own, which is insane to me. Like, I think that you probably should be losing money on them. Or maybe you shouldn't, but... and this is just the advantage you get from playing the gnomes, and you have an asymmetric advantage from other things. Have you ever considered making a Crusader Kings stream? I think we've done Crusader Kings videos a little bit. Crusader Kings specifically makes me nervous because I was playing in a mod for Crusader Kings. Let's be off and see if... Okay, looks like we're in okay shape. I was playing a mod for Crusader Kings, and what ended up happening is... the mod, I had the no nudity setting on, and the mod still showed nudity. Well, it looks like it broke our trade unions as well, somehow. The update, whatever update they did, broke our clout of our trade unions, which is unfortunate. We don't have another good way to pass compulsory primary school, unless we can promote these guys to... leadership, which we can't because we hate women currently, unfortunately. The truth does hurt. Can we get onto women? Oh, we can't get onto egalitarian suffrage. Why not? We have to invent feminism. That's fair. Well, we kind of don't want to slot these guys out of government because the second we slot them out of government, it will marginalize the trade unions. I don't know what's up with them. We are going to be... This is going to be a little bit of jank that we are kind of perusing through. Adarza Kava, thank you for the follow. Big nice. Not our normal kind of stream time, so kind of expecting fewer of you guys to come through. Or less of you guys, if we want to piss off people who like Stannis. I guess we maybe chill for now. God, that kind of sucks that these guys are 0% clout. These states are very cursed. Indeed, they are uber cursed. Have you tried Abadar for EU4? We have tried Abadar for EU4. Generally, kind of a fan of the mod. The mod was a lot to take in at a time when we weren't even playing that much EU4 to begin with, so... but yeah, these... We'll see how long we end up playing today, because I think that we're mainly going to just crank up some of these soul rot factories and see what's up. We'll just say unfortunate for that, because we are in a spot where we really don't care too much. But yeah, these states are uber cursed. They're making for Vic 3 as well. I'm excited for that. I do want Lord of the Rings mod, but I think that I think that it just it's probably just not a good world setting for Victoria 3. I just like Lord of the Rings, so it's probably... I know I want it, but I don't think it necessarily makes too much sense. Unless you're making something that's a little bit more, how should I say, sympathetic to the orcs, which would be an interesting take. Your fertilizer. And I'm going to turn it up in here as well. So these are currently not fully employed. We're going to add a bunch to the front of the queue, because these feed into the soul rod assembly things, and I think our biggest production of them is right here. As does wood and porcelain, so I guess we're also going to find some glassworks that are high level and push the economies of scale on them. a little bit here. I think we have EOS of 50, but we'll just do that for now. Hi there, Mr. Gaming. How are things at Wizardland? Things are fragmented. They updated the mod since yesterday, and that does appear to have bricked the states a little bit. Not complete spaghetti, but it is a little bit rough. Did we get promised vanilla today? No. I said I was probably done with the mod. I didn't say I was going to stream on Monday. And I wanted to do a video on this mod. And I wanted to test something out before we did the video, because we didn't really test out building a ton of pops. And so what we're going to be doing today, this is going to be a short stream. We're just pushing up these numbers as much as possible on these things. And we're looking to, yeah, just build these guys on up. We could probably export glass, considering what we're doing. I said we could probably export glass. Okay. Or we will be able to soon. But yeah, we're gonna switch back to vanilla once we're like kind of done with this mod. And I wanted to check something before we call it, especially because our states have been spaghettied, which is a little bit rough. The hobbits yearn for the mines, exactly. The pop building doesn't seem that strong. It doesn't seem like it produces that many pops, but we also had really low levels. I don't know. The fact that it's profitable, like from an eco perspective, it's not super profitable. It's like barely profitable. At the higher levels, it gets a lot more profitable. When we were taking a look at it, we don't have streamlined soul rot. The fact that they have capped it, and the fact that it intakes porcelain is very strong. Or, sorry, the fact that they have capped it indicates to me that they think the building is really strong, which doesn't necessarily mean it's strong, but, or the modders, but we also saw them cap the observatories, which are, like, just insane. So my intuition is if something is capped, it's not a guarantee that it's going to be OP, but it's a very strong indicator that it's going to be extremely powerful, like these observatories are, which just give 5 tech spread, which is just like an insane amount of, an insane modifier. 5 tech spread effectively being like, well, it's at least 15 innovation because the tech spread is applied to each thing, but also in order to get 2 levels of tech spread, you need about 3 innovation, right? So if it's giving you 15, or if it's giving you 5 tech spread, then like, it's the equivalent of several universities is the idea. I did the math before. I think it's somewhere between 5 and 10 universities, but it's roughly the same cost as 1 university. So, we will not invite anyone here because we are trying to get rid of our agitators. Had a little bit of a interesting political situation with these guys, but I think it's so that for economically the building's not that strong. But it is better than break even. But the fact that you could just build pops, I think, is at the very least intriguing. And with just a few levels, we have produced 6 million pops. Like the amount of levels we have currently, I think we had like a total of maybe 10 to 15 levels, and we've produced, ooh baby, a triple. Should turn that on forever ago. I think so, a lot of these levels here are new, and we've been sitting on like 10 levels, and with 10 levels, we've produced like 6 million pops over the course of a period of time. 25 innovation is 5 tech spread. A max university with the second PM and 50% throughput is 4.5 innovation. There we go. So it's worth roughly 5 times the university, assuming you're getting max throughput. But a little bit more. It's not giving you qualifications, though. But that's not really... You can still build unis for qualifications. It's also not giving you active research, so you still want at least one uni kind of stacked high in the capital, I think. But I think with this mod, that's it. So if we kind of like double these, we could see just how much we could run the number up. But like, we're not hurting for pops at all. We're about to have a bunch of these glass things finish, which is going to be good, because it's going to make construction cheaper, although we're going to start exporting glass pretty quick off the back of it. But construction will still be cheaper, because right now we can't export glass. So whatever equilibrium we could export glass at is still our own construction being cheaper. But the idea is as we pull this will allow us to push down the price of porcelain more, which we're using as an input in these soul rot things. That's still not very productive. Interesting. These states, though, you do be driving us a little bit crazy. But so, for example, here, we see that glass is actually the more expensive good. And it's soon going to probably be porcelain, but if it's not, if we're just overproducing porcelain, that works because it's going to make our soul rot factories a lot cheaper. We see that we're finishing these and they're not employing uplike at all. So let's get on getting these soul rot things out then. I think we're going to kick, we're going to keep the observatories at the front because they're just so good. But we're going to kick a lot of this stuff to the back until we're on the soul rot factories. There we go. Do we not have a pushing front? Can we not push because it's bricked because the map changed? Maybe that's the case. Yeah, this is not a situation we want to play too long into. But I did want to kind of get a better eye for things as it related to us building pops. Yeah, this is unfortunate. We overbuilt this initially because we knew we were going to build into it, but it was just a mistake. So we might lose a couple levels of the building. I think Soul Rot factories capped at roughly 200k pops per state per year. That's a lot of pops still. When orc cosplay, we're doing it every day. 200 pops per state per year. That's a lot of population growth. I don't know, like if we have... Is there an outliner where we can look at total states? We have 50 states. So if we can make 200k, then we can build, if we completely max out all of them, and it's 200k pops a year per state. Not that we would necessarily want to max out every state that we have or something like this, but was that 10x 10 million or 10x a million? So 10 million pops a year. And then those pops will have all the compound growth effects that you have in kind of your normal pop growth situation. 10 million per year at max. That's a lot of pops. That's close to 10x our annual pop growth. Although, to be fair, we don't have a health institution currently. So... Oh, now we have clout. Now we have clout to do stuff. Okay, okay. Oh, Kurt. We also have an insane, like, work ratio or whatever. Alright, let's try and get on this. Like, we're not even close to maxing it out here. They start with zero literacy and 100% workforce ratio for some reason. I think they're automatons. They're born to be slaves or whatever. And they're slaves in the, like, starting condition system. But, like, they'll still trend towards... If I'm not mistaken... Oh, do they not trend? The pops that they give birth to will be... I don't know exactly how the equilibriums work. I know if you have more birth rate than you do... Like, if your pop growth is more from birth rate rather than minus mortality, you'll trend towards your equilibriums faster. So I don't know if the newly produced pops, maybe they can only do laborer stuff, but all the pop growth you get from those guys will be moving towards being more educated. So as those pops grow, they'll be more educated. I don't know if it actually pulls pops towards being more literate, or if it's just the new pops that are replacing them that are more literate. I think it pulls them to being more literate, but I'm not 100% sure in this regard. But we're still getting mass migrations, which is kind of cute. And Gizmos and Ether are feeding in here. Whoa. And we also, like, I don't have a good idea of, like, the supply chains and what's good. Like, we have these haunted grounds, I really don't know how efficient this stuff is. Or if we're running out of it. Looks like we're kind of running out of it. Theorol is all the way over here. That's awkward. Look at this. Are we not pushing the state militarily? It really feels like we're not pushing at all. We'll see if the army that lands can do anything. Similar to the mountain that rides, but it's the army that lands. Oh, we should... I think annex these guys. Not too much infamy. Their states are really valuable and they're unrecognized, so... We could alternatively go after one state at a time. Let's get back to our normal outliner. They having trouble. Looks like our landing is getting in, making progress. Making our way downtown, talking fast, etc., etc. On them. Go find a soul rot pop and check their literacy? Sure. We can do that. So why don't we check a laborer pop first? And then we'll check something else out. 18%. So they're trending up. And then let's check a machinist maybe? 23%. So it looks like they're slowly getting pulled out. Forget the cosplay question. When boxing match against Tarkus. Tarkus can catch these hands whenever he wants. You can take that to the bank. Pull up. Send location. Hello, my bald beauty. Glad to get another stream. Yeah, this one's going to be a shorter one, because we're just kind of trying to test these soul rot factories a little bit more, because I wanted to make a video on this mod. I wanted to kind of come to a little bit more of a conclusion before we did. We haven't really reached the conclusion yet of how good these buildings are. I mean, the pop growth seems to be quite a lot, and I guess we're going to see... we are kind of leveling out with our current level of migration or whatever, and as all these soul rot factories finish, we'll see what exactly happens, what's good. That is a lot of battles. What the frick is going on here? I mean, we're plus 100%. I guess... Now we're 90%. This brings a whole new shame to the game of front spaghetti, though. Because now we're just all kinds of confused. Like, truly, this is the most spaghettiful thing. Which is unfortunate, because I wanted to make a video. The video is going to look like jank when we load up our save files to kind of show stuff off, but I guess it's unavoidable. It is kind of neat, though, because I could draw attention to the fact that they are updating this. Why are you going all the way over there? Jesus. Is over there even over there? Probably not. Scared of who? Scared of you. I think we'll add a little bit more there. But we leveled out. And now we're about to finish a bunch of these factories, and it's really not like an enormous amount of factories, but it's a pretty good amount, I think. Hopefully we get there in time and we don't get pushed out. This is a strangeness. The spaghetti is spagooted. As it usually does, but... we also have to reduce autonomy on these guys. They're our last non-Dominion subject. Oh, not the spaghetti. Not like this. So it looks like we are slowly occupied. Our battle with Gold Pass starts. We could use some more troops over here. Structure sector throughput's pretty intense modifier for us right now. I think we're kind of losing money. Where is what we just that spread? What else does it give us? Large scale harvesting for beekeeping hives. I don't think we have any of those, so. What's our cooldown on exile? We did want to exile this guy. 22 months, okay. Gotta make the movement go away. Game is starting to slow down a bit as well. So playing super late game in this mod might be a little bit rough. Somehow we're getting occupation here, which bemuses me. I don't know how we're winning battles. Such a negative, like, power balance score. Really kind of want this war to wrap up with these guys so we can move troops over here. So now all the factories are starting to get finished. And we're going to see if our pop growth really kind of takes a sharp uptick. We are subsidizing all those, so we're kind of expecting to lose money. But we have tried to make sure that we have as much of the inputs as possible sorted out. We're going to add some more chops to the queue a little bit at the back. Especially over here, where we're a little bit more confident what we're clicking on. Tell them to kick rocks. I feel like it's taking forever to get battles through, and maybe that's just I'm being impatient and the game's actually progressing a little bit slowly. You can up the speed a little bit. Today YouTube started showing me the channels my audience watches, and Ludi is ahead of Generalist. Yeah, I mean Ludi's way bigger. The truth hurts. More viewers who watch Victoria 3 videos watch Ludi's videos than viewers who watch mine. The viewers who watch my videos, on average, are watching more Victoria 3 videos than the ones that are watching Ludi's videos. But he has a much wider, he has much more width, and we have more depth. Not really that far behind Ludi in terms of views per month, but I think he has other, like, revenue. Like, in terms of the YouTube, like, considerations, I think he has a lot more revenue kind of stuff. No, Demonia is our ally. It feels like we're just actually not pushing up here, though. Is that it? Alright, we're gonna raise the conscripts on this army. And I think we are gonna move this army over here. I think we're actually not making progress on that front at all. I don't know what's going on there, but nothing good. It seems like we're kind of making progress over here, so. It doesn't look like anything we can side in on productively. Oh, the front spaghetti is going to be so gnarly. Hopefully that's on the correct front we have there. We are starting to get a push, but now we're getting pushed back. It's all so very confusing. Where are these guys going? They're going nowhere. Sure. Defensive pact. Probably something we want to do. God, please get to the whatever front you're going to. Alright. We will head on over to the fronts over here. Let's check a pop growth. It's not looking too crazy, but we're still producing new of these. Move these guys over here. We did get spaghettied, I think. Yeah, it looks like we got teleported. The spaghetti is The the sauce is not one that we're particularly partial to be honest. But, yeah, we're trying to ask him why he's all up in our Kool-Aid, but... Oh my god, they're advancing from behind. We're surrounded. This is the realest spaghetti we've ever seen. Holy shit. I don't even... I don't know when they finish these advancements, what pocket it's gonna actually push the state into. Yeah, we might lose this war. I'm just too confused to like, I mean, we have the military power here. I think that we'll be okay. I don't know what this is taking. I think it's just taking this, which I think is fine for us. I think we just get everyone involved that we can. I think we let it get too out of hand. So our pop line is starting to tick upward again, I think, as we're finishing these soul rot factories. This building's still, it's much more employed. It's still not running a positive balance. In this, we're now producing 17,000 a month, so we're getting over 10,000 a month. So we started with like 6.5 million soul rod, I think, or soul rod that had been produced, including the ones that had been converted, because we were looking at atheist instead. And now we're up to a little over 7 million. I don't think it's been a year. It looked like we're starting to get our pushback. Wherever this front is. I'm not sure where it's at because of spaghetti. Healthcare will also help keep the pops alive longer, right? So, this pop growth is going to be multiplicatively effective with like other ways of like increasing pop. Oh, a new front's been opened up in the north. A new front has been opened up in the north, boys. They said your spaghetti couldn't spagoot, but then we rigatonied. This is actually the follow-up to the Great Spaghetti War of Egypt versus Russia. Will you ever branch out in other games? We do play other games. Our other games do not get a lot of views, and that is probably one of the reasons why you haven't seen the other games is because it doesn't get recommended in your feed because it doesn't get a lot of views. So we still primarily play Victoria 3, but we've definitely played other games. Like we did a 12-hour Romance of the Three Kingdoms stream last week. I imagine it just didn't show up in your feed. These guys are, of course, traveling to a front. Oh, actually, it's a reasonable-looking travel. It's not like Insano travel. I thought the front was over here somehow while not being over there. I mean, all this is a little Insano, but we're pushing a front over here, boys. Don't you worry. Feels like your army just isn't fighting? Yeah, you're telling me. Feels like they're just slacking on the job. Glass isn't very regressive. It does look like we've kind of set ourselves up with the levels that we're going to have on these things. The inputs aren't too expensive. The balance is positive. Well, it's kind of positive. We're paying more into subsidies. But we're producing 17,000 here a month. 17 times 12 on our current level. What is this? 204. So that's 200,000, but that's just on the current PM. It's not even on the streamlined one, which would produce about 50% more. A little over 50% more. So 300k a month. That's it's kind of insane. How much are we paying right now, though? Paying 60k in subsidies, but if we could push down the input costs, that would help a lot. I think this is the one that gives us a lot of enactment chance if we want to pay some money. I think we're kind of in good shape, so let's just take the 10%. Our armies are pushing. Where they're pushing, who knows, but they are pushing. This is al dente. Yeah. This is, the pasta's not getting cooked, we're getting cooked. The pasta's al dente, we're deep fried. This is, al dente. Perfect. We do want to swap these on to using oil as well. I think we just don't have a lot of oil. Or God's blood, as it is in this mod. What are we even researching? Telephonos? Oh, that's... We probably don't even need the phones. I wonder what gives us the max level soul rod assembly plants. We look by checking in here. Pneumatic tools. Hardwood output's also really appealing, to be honest. So we need more hardwood. It's gone soft. A lot of construction throughput type stuff. I think it's bugged that your armies can't start battles, and the front line has been like this for months and no battles are spawning. But we reoccupied some of this stuff. You might be right, though. The battles can't start. In which case we eventually lose this war because we have at least one state. Wait, why can't they enforce occupation? Pretty sure this is, oh, it's not incorporated yet. So in 8 years when this finishes incorporating, we would be able to enforce. Yeah, I think you might be, well, we have battles. They're just not taking territory, I think might be the thing. Like, we're getting battles. I don't know, we pushed and grabbed some territory over there, it just took forever. So we got this battle, it's on one of these fronts somewhere. Okay, no, look. I mean, everything's very confusing. I'm confused. Crying, screaming, and throwing up. But... this guy's actually on the front already. We get spagooted, unfortunately. I really don't know what front to assign the guys, but these guys aren't pushing this front that's over here in Nowheresville. Not to be confused with Margaritaville. And this front is also similarly not getting pushed. I think it might just be some of the fronts are active and others are not. Or are pushable, I guess. It's very strange. Depositing time. Well, something weird is... I think you're correct that something weird is happening. I just don't know exactly what the weirdness is. Oh, look, we occupied. Look. They're partially occupied now. And we're trying to assign to the fronts that visually look like they're the fronts that we want to push. Unfortunately, unfortunately, like, the visuals are all wrong. Well, it looks like we have their capital. I think we can build the electronics industries in the capital here. And that'll be fine. I forget it's in agriculture that the rubber is. We'll put that on auto expand. In theory, we are floating so much excess stuff that we do have beekeeping. I'm not sure if that decision we make is correct. It's probably not. I don't really know. We can't click on those. We tried. Do we get the... Oh, we didn't even pick up the tools PM. Do we have any rubber PMs to start? We can colonize here for whatever reason. We already were colonizing over here, but okay. Yeah, it's very confusing. I'm confused as well. Yeah. We'll try not to let them push us in the future. I don't think we need the migration attraction, so... Looks like they're close to giving up, though, so... we don't really care if people die, considering how much pop we have. Looks like our pop is starting to crank up again here with the soul rot factories, but not like super crazy, but also we don't have a ton of them. Right? We just have like level 1 in a bunch of places. which creates cultural communities for them, so they can emigrate from the capital or whatever. Did we research? No, we don't have capacitors. I think we'll do capacitors after pneumatic tools. God, 2 useless bonuses. The truth hurts. I think we'll start incorporating these immediately because they have a bunch of stuff in them. We'll reset the PMs. God, kind of want to try and clean up these borders, but you know, when this guy is in fact over here, and this guy is in fact over here, it's a little bit rough, isn't it? Isn't it? Oh, we got, whoa, 500 construction from these places. Wait. 15 construction sectors. Bro, these guys were popping off. I mean, we don't need as many unis, but crazy. Are those just not actually starting the thing? They're not starting the thing. Okay. I'm a little tempted to put the solar factories on auto expand. Let's just do that. I think that that's probably not what you want to do, but I think we want to try and accelerate the process of getting these things up. Because I can't remember how auto expand works when you're subsidizing, but I don't think it works the way you want it to. Where it'll only expand if it's actually profitable, but instead I think we'll see +1 on a bunch of these when they're like not really profitable and they're only being propped up by subsidies, but I could be mistaken. Does it actually just hold the cash flow reserves that... Oh, that's neat if that's how that works, if it's holding the cash reserves down. So if the cash reserves just get held because they're currently being subsidized, so then these buildings won't deploy up unless they're actually profitable, so then what we could do is we could push the input industries for all of these instead of... Okay. We can push the industries that lead into these quite heavily. And you can see now this is actually, remember it wasn't profitable before, now it's auto-expanding. I think we're going to push the gizmos here, but we have an input shortage. I think we gotta swap back to these types of gizmos. We're just not producing anywhere near enough. And we'll just EOS this. We'll EOS this like the cap is still 51 instead of 50 now. I'm not familiar with this mod. It's cool. Do you recommend it? Yeah, we're gonna make a video on it. Just to be, if you're just joining, this mod, the map has been updated, which is since we started this run, which is why there are some states that are very, very strangely split. This is not a natural feature of the mod. Just to be try to be as clear as possible on that front. I feel like oil should be discovered more. I think the treatment of oil in vanilla and the mod, or just like the treatment of oil in Victoria 3 is like a little bit strange. Because like one of the biggest industries in all of like the Victorian era, before you discovered you like could pump oil out of the ground, was the fact that was whaling industries, and that industry just completely disappeared. And this like this phenomenon is like completely ignored basically in Victoria 3. I assume so. Gizmos are. So what is this? Gizmos are an additional 20 cost per level. So this is 200 more cost for an output of 25 more. Yeah, so this is going to be worth it. But I would recommend this mod. The thing I'm going to focus on in the video is that these allow for specialization in a way that's not really that present in Victoria 3, which leads to different gameplay patterns, which I think is really neat. There's also all this fantasy stuff, and it's a world with kind of its own lore and these types of things, but I honestly don't know enough about the lore to, like, speak to the lore. We were pursuing trade agreements with a lot of these guys. I think that we wanted to make a defensive pact with these guys for... Yeah. That Bloodthorn, that is... Can't side with anyone there. We could almost reduce autonomy on these guys. So close. Yeah, we're fine with the Democrat, man. Nine weeks till we can exile this guy. We can finally get rid of this stupid cooperative ownership movement. Do have a little bit of infamy. They're isolated with a port, which might be a bug. Add a couple more ports to the mix. How are our trade routes doing? What's producing the most sell orders? We're exporting an enormous amount of this. We're importing an enormous amount of paper too. Maybe that's not what we want to be about, but do they have a paper company? Or some sort of paper advantage? Magic Industries throughput's not paper. We can't see their companies, though. Can we just see their arcana? No, we can see their companies. Oh, look! They have a paper company. Yeah, so now they have a relative advantage in the production of paper compared to us, so... I don't really hate importing paper from them, to be honest. We should just keep building more of what we're good at. Taking out these guys would clean things up the borders-wise a little bit. If I recall correctly, they have like infinite kind of defensive packs. Our population is just... Oh, wait. Part of this is just an annexation. Communist Party is huge. Huge. Doing pretty good. Yeah, very communist-y. Too similar to the ruler, not like this. Yeah, how do you like them apples? Who's the ruler now, idiot? So there's but one who remains. From those who kind of watched our absolute struggle bus, we struggled a really long time with this cooperative ownership movement because we couldn't get rid of it. Look at our GDP conquering that stuff. Just a lot of goodies over here. A lot of Kim Salt. So much resources, bro. These would maybe be interesting guys to play. We can't up the institution right now. I think that we want to go for egalitarian suffrage. Mainly, partially because it's good, but also so we can promote that one woman to government and then get rid of this movement forever. Oh, Aurora sighted. Is this part of the Veil integrity? In recent months, a phenomenon known as Aurora Calcum has been increasingly popular among skies on the Exether. Vibrant display of colors defy scientific explanations, sparking intrigue and speculation. Some of them view them as impending change, while others see them as an omen of awakened magic. Whatever this meaning, one thing is clear: the world is on the brink of transformation. Bro. What is this? What is this? Leads to arcade currents. Did a bunch of stuff get unlocked with the latest? Maybe we have to read through the patch notes on this. We could also sub to the previous version. Okay, well, it's a little late for that. To not brick stuff. But that's neat. I don't think we're going to get a chance to try that out, though. Considering the scope of time at which we're playing. Veil Integrity just broke... Oh, maybe it's still not implemented yet, but Veil Integrity just broke 75%. These guys are just about under where we want them. So we want them under 25, so they accept. Guaranteed. Good dealsies. Potion Distilleries gets a new PM, which is something we care about. We don't care about the fact that we've unlocked dye production that way, unless it's buffed in this mod, which I don't think this mod does too much to buff vanilla stuff, so we just have to take a look at vial additive. I assume it's going to be better, but really don't need to use labor-saving PMs because we just have a disgusting amount of laborers. We have passed the point where we have more gainfully employed than peasants, but kind of just barely. Bro, domestics clicked. Thank you. We'll add a little bit more. That way the auto queue can pick these places up and start putting stuff in them. The auto queue is not able to. We're doing it in incorporated states. See how these places are doing. We added to these soul rot assembly kind of earlier. Looks like they're halfway employed. Let's take a look at the population here. So, pretty slow growth, although I think that the soul rot per year is going to end up actually adding a lot here. So this times 12, it's going to be like over 10,000 a year. Or we can't do math. No, we can't do math. It's like, every 4 months it'll be around 1,000, so 4,000-ish a year. But we're about to hit this breakpoint where it's going to add 10k pops here. And now the pop growth is negative because they're all unemployed, but now we have a cultural community for soul rot, so soul rots can migrate here. And we might get negative migration as well. But now the pops are trying to employ up, and so they're going to have difficulty, though, because they don't have any literacy. So they're really bad in the qualifications. I'm so glad we got to see, like, the exact point at which, like, the building kind of moved on up. It's super neat. And it looks like the pop growth is fixing as guys are getting employed. And now it's positive. So now this place should employ up quite a bit more. Hopefully. Or maybe the soul rots are getting employed here. Where are they getting employed? I mean, we have, I guess, in here for a little bit as peasants until it can upgrade. Let's not add this. We're looking at if they have a very significant penalty to construction, and if it's over 5%, we're not adding more unis there. We're going to go to EOS there because it's going to be very efficient at giving us more of the juice. And then with that, we will look to upgrade our health institution. They updated the game recently, so the save might be a bit buggy. That is exactly what's going on, yeah. But that's okay. That is why a lot of these borders look so weird. Haven't crashed, so as long as we're not crashing a lot, we should be in decent enough shape. Do reduce autonomy on them. So map is slowly getting cleaned up. The Great Nomistry continues. You hear that too? I do. If you were thinking what I was thinking, you'd be thinking about it as well. I think these guys are recognized. Yeah, they're just insignificant. These guys are unrecognized. Oh, no, they're in. These guys are somewhere else, so we don't want to clean that up. These guys are an unrecognized regional power. I got a donut. I mean, we could just keep adding more soul rod assemblies, I suppose. And also, we just added a bunch, but they add in chunks. It takes a while for these to hit this to 10,000. It's 500 a month, right? So, it's gonna take a while for these to, like, actually start kicking in. Let's take a look at our population. Looking at how many atheists we have. So we're up to 9.5 from a little under 7. So since the start of the stream, we've produced a little over 2 million pops in this way. Your GDP is very erect, thank you. It's mainly from conquering someone who had a lot of GDP. Yeah, I imagine they do it for performance reasons, where it's every 10k instead of every tick. So I'm not sure exactly how to feel about this. I think what we're going to do is every single one of these that is fully employed up, we're going to add a level. If it's not fully employed, we know it's the overseas stuff that can't employ up. So like these ones, we won't put a strain on the infrastructure by adding levels. We do have them on auto expand. Yeah, if they're not fully employed, we will not add levels. This says 6 for whatever reason, so we'll just add a few there. Assuming that our reasoning for putting more there to begin with was correct. Which of course is a dangerous assumption, but, you know, war is about sacrifice. And so this will give us quite a few more levels of these things. And we're also progressing towards the tech, which will give us the max level of these things. And then I think we'll kind of be close to wrapping up the test. Very pleasantly surprised to see that auto-expand was not auto-expanding these, because I think the way it should work is if you're subsidizing something, it shouldn't auto-expand. Like if something needs your subsidy to employ up, it should never auto-expand. And that does seem to be what's going on. I know we've used auto-expand on the railways before, and like ran into headaches. I think that's just frictional unemployment. But it's, yeah, the fact that these guys get, you know, kind of constructed with 0 literacy is an important point for qualifications. But have we tried Victory at Abanar yet? Is it even out yet? We haven't, but is it out yet? We're gonna be where we should be declaring war soon. The GitHub fork is playable? Interesting. Though in real life, subsidizing an industry does make it expand. Yeah, I wish subsidies worked closer to how they do in real life. Which is that, it didn't just cover... Like, the way that subsidies work right now is almost like making something a state-owned enterprise. Which is that, it will make it employ up all the way, no matter what. And the government will cover, the wages, basically. And... the way a subsidy would work in real life, or the way most subsidies work, I suppose you could run a subsidy like that, but it'd be kind of like state ownership. with private profit, is per level, the government just injects however much money into the industry. And as a result, this artificially increases, it doesn't increase demand, but it effectively reduces the cost of supply, which means you will produce a larger amount of the good. Because the opportunity cost for producing however much supply is lower, which will reduce the price at the market of the good, but just because there will be more buildings. But that's not how subsidies work. To be fair, like, the way railways work is like a weird abstraction which forces subsidies to like have to employ, because if subsidies work in the way I'm talking about, then we would, what would end up happening is the railways would still not to be able to employ in some places, you wouldn't get the infrastructure, and then your economy would spiral down because you have no infrastructure. So, like, the way railways are, the mechanic by which infrastructure is received, creates problems. What kind of pizza are we having? We're having apple fritter pizza. I mean, what pizza? Wait. No, yeah, we're having apple fritter pizza. The joke gets confused when we're not actually having pizza. Rubber tools. We should probably just get rubber tools, but the name of the game in this mod is more being really aggressive with going ahead of time on tech, so we're not... I don't know if we should get tools. Tools would be better. The rubber tools, but they're not ahead of time. So I think we won't do it. Close to getting... some things going with these guys. That'll satisfy our lobby. Right? Yeah. Which that lobby in particular is all of our interest groups but 2. So appeasing them is really nice for approval. Does it tell us what we've gotten it from? No. Eventually, we might be gated just by how much ectoplasm stuff we can produce. Because we're using the soul rod assembly, right? Which takes up this resource. I guess we have some potentials elsewhere. These buttons are still broken though. So late on the healthcare. I think once we get this, we'll kind of crank up a little bit. And then see where we're at. Excuse me. Again, mainly look at atheists. We checked in not too long ago, and we're up like another 500,000 pops. Which I think it's just been a couple months. And it's like our annual growth is 1.5 million. We're making money now too. I'm assuming this plus this is like kind of how much you're making, so should add more construction here. Yeah, huge economy from the Draco people or whatever. Yeah, on the world stage, we are completely dominant. We're not necessarily going to push anything. This is our ally. And this guy we have a defensive pact with, so the next biggest is our rival, whom is humiliated and not very strong. Although we don't have much of an army, I suppose, relative to how strong we are. So maybe we look to rectify that. This is gonna hitch up several times with our improving this. It's gonna take a little while though. You could also decrease dangerous working conditions here a little bit, I think. Not knowing all the states very well, the heuristic we're using for what to incorporate is kind of how far they are from the capital, because you're gonna get more manufactories in incorporated states with the auto queue, because you're not gonna be subjected to as many penalties, and it's gonna cost more convoys to ship. Yeah, you were calculating growth earlier, but doesn't one soul rot good turn into multiple population? So it sells you, yes. What we're looking at here is this number. This is the number that is produced. They get produced in batches of 10k. So if we wait to the next month, this will roll over to like, I think a little under 10k. So it'll produce 10k, 10k pops get added, and then this additional 7k on top of this 2.3 is going to make it so it's like 9.5k. So this amount of goods is getting produced, this 236,000 or whatever, but it is adding soul rights based on the secondary number. So kind of coming back over here where we experienced that like jump to 30k, or sorry, 40k, that was pretty substantive. That is from, you know, this building is adding per month, let's call it 250. So in 4 months it will have added 1,000. So in 40 months you'll hit another one of these breakpoints and it'll add 10k pops. And then things will start kind of cranking up a little bit from there to try and get like these places able to employ up guys. And we see here, for example, we built a second soul rot thing over here, and now they are producing 680 a month. So over the course of about a year, maybe, let's call it, it will produce another 10k pops, and that'll get these guys going as well. So the ability to seed these places that are otherwise very barren is actually really nice, because a lot of these places started with basically no pop, and now, look at them, they're starting to come on up at a decent clip, which is not something that, like, if we could build one of these in vanilla and Sinai, that would be so sweet, because then we could get the canal up and running, like, much easier. When did you blob out so much? I mean, we've just kind of slowly been blobbing, man. Blobbers be blobbing. Blah, 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 blah. I think these guys are unrecognized. They are, so we're just gonna full annex them. The fronts are all, like, very bananas-y because, reasons. Because the mod was updated. Of course, we do like updates, but, let's play the whack-a-mole game. Please keep sorting by domestic. Do something like that. Yeah, a lot of this was annexing relatively small powers, though. I think we'll go after Bloodthorn next. I think we can full annex them. And just try to keep the borders nice and clean. Horka sides against us. Well, we could peel a state off of them. And still be in okay shape. We will make sure to assign to both fronts here. Less calamity ensues in regards to how things are done here. Looks like Horka might be the only joiner. So we'll put in a conquer state. Oh, nope, someone else joined. What's this? I don't even know where those guys are on the map. TBH. Why don't we just take... I think the other state's better than the one that's visually bigger. Allegedly, we have another front. Oh. Oh dear. Is that where these guys are? Oh dear. We're gonna be in for some weird times. A lot of weird spaghetti is about to happen. You love to see it, you love to taste it. Vomit on our sweater already. We will assign someone to every front, but this might get out of hand. But I really like our... Yeah, I mean, like, so often there's states in Victoria 3 that are just really good that you can't make use of. Like Antofagasta. Because you can't get pops there because they have under 20... If they have under 20 agriculture and a ton of resources, it's basically impossible to get enough pops there to do anything. And that kind of reminds me of these states. And the Solrock factory, like, the value of the pops is better when you can put it where you want it as well. Like, it's not just like, there's a difference in value. Like, it's not like getting a bunch of migration on states you don't care about. Bro, what war goal are you asking? This is their subject. I think we have an alliance with them so they can call us in either way. Well, let's make them call us in, I suppose. I mean, we could go over the infamy breakpoint and just annex these guys. Maybe that's actually a little bit better than what we're doing. We can't if we put war reps on them. Put war reps on these guys, though. I'm guessing we're going to take at least one of their states. I don't think we're going to stall out long enough that we can... Wow, we added a ton of construction. Where we could add this for 6.7 and not go over. We would need to stall out 1.3 infamy. I think that's just off the cusp. I think we'll just have another chance to annex these guys later. It'll be fine. Are the POPs generation comparable to exporting immigrants from the southwest and southeast Indian continent islands? I don't know what you mean by exporting immigrants. I mean, it's just another layer of, like, pop growth that we get that we otherwise wouldn't. Like, migration has a cap, right? In terms of what you could receive. And also it's, like, somewhat gated by, like, SOL and, like, this type of stuff. And pop growth is also, like, a factor. But the pops we're building are going to further have pop growth. So to be fair, I think they also get spat out as atheists. But now we're up to close to 10 million. Which is, like, not a small number of pops to just kind of be added on top of the thing when the buildings are not, like, that economically, like, calamitous. Currently in subsidies, we're playing 167k for the subsidies, but, like, these subsidies aren't deleting money, because they're creating buy orders for these other industries. So this is actually making, like, our wood production much better, and our production of other stuff. So let's take a look at some prices in our market that are, like, low. So I'm expecting to see, so softwood is low because we're creating hardwood demand, and, like, look at how much we can export of softwood. So we actually should be doing this a little bit more aggressively. Because this will allow us to pull down the wood prices because more wood will get constructed in the auto queue, although eventually every piece of wood we can build will be, like, fully output. But, like, so our subsidy is allowing us to build more of an industry here that is useful, that is particularly strong, because wood is the fastest depeasanting thing. But, like, look at how many people we can export to. We do have the wood company in as well, so we should be, like, advantaged in this, but this is, like, an intentional type of thing. And let's see, the fact that ceramic is a feeder into this is actually really nice, because normally you have a huge glut of ceramic because glass feeding into construction, but right now glass is, like, really expensive, but we're still able to make use of the good PMs. And so, like, there's trickle-down positive effects that are just weird and interesting as a result of us subsidizing this industry. In addition to getting this enormous pop growth, which, to be fair, they like, have shit for qualifications initially, so that's why, like, they're being thrown into this arable land. And we might be able to even, in real time, kind of see this. They have, like, no qualifications, so the 10k that got produced by the manufactory was thrown into here. And I think they were thrown into here some time ago, and we're not seeing them leaving or getting employed up elsewhere. But this is still creating economic activity, like, in this location. And when they start to get employed up, when their qualifications start to rise, that's going to be very, like, important point. So let's take a look at population, see if we can take a look at the peasants here. So the peasants, mostly soul rot, not entirely. And we see, okay, their literacy is coming on up. It's coming on up at a decent clip. Someone said they got spat out with 0%. If they got spat out with 0%, that's like in 100% workforce ratio. That's a pretty good come up right there. We were thinking of last minute making it so we full annex these guys, but I guess it's fine. What's your attitude towards us, my guy? Genial. It's genial anyway, so no need to side and apply on their side. Just to reset it to genial. We are trying to pull them into our block. Or they have their own block, so I guess maybe we won't be able to do that very easily. We have a bunch of excess diplo because our trade routes are like getting huge. Forgot what are some of the downstream industries here that, like, because we're creating extra buy orders for these industries, and thaumacours are one of the expensive things. And what feeds into thaumacours is maybe. So the ectoplasm in particular has gotten expensive. The gizmos are a little bit expensive. So, let's see if we can add more of the ectoplasm stuff. If it'll be particularly profitable. Looks like we're kind of maxing it out as best we can, but we could do a little bit more. Oh. I thought we were sorted by peasants, we were not. Hopefully we didn't build too much in the, like, frigid north. Where, like, yeah, something's being built here, which we do not like something being built here. Yeah, we don't like this. They already can't deploy up, so... So, we will hopefully slow push these guys, annex these guys, or not annex these guys, take one state off these guys. I think I know where they're being added in batches. 10k if it were smaller, the pop combiner would force assimilate them. Oh, that might be correct. I thought it was performance, because adding them every tick would be more performance intensive, but the assimilation reasons also make sense. They are getting assimilated slowly. Which is why, as we're like watching them in the census data, we're watching atheist pops rather than soul rot pops, because the soul rots are getting convert to Raviki, but they're not getting convert from being atheist, so... This includes pop growth from these guys as well, though, so it will be like exponential in nature. In terms of the growth. We're coming up on the final tech here for them. Let's take a look at what our requirements are for Streamlight Soul Rights. It looks like we're going to have considerably more gizmos and more thaumacour. We're already trying to expand these past like what is profitable or whatever. I guess we should be keeping an eye on which ones have peasants, but we are slowly getting some occupation over here. That is so erect. I'm gonna need a towel, boys. Is this a world conquest? No, no, no. This is like a test. I think with the way our map got bricked, we're not that interested in trying to do a world conquest. Also, I want to make a video talking about this mod and comparative advantage together, and I wanted to do it, but I wanted to test a little bit more with the pop grower guys. And I was either going to test on-stream or off-stream, and I figured on-stream would be something people would generally prefer. So this is kind of where we're at. I can't imagine we have too many viewers right now, but that's okay. Some people will be interested in the VOD. This hardwood output is such a strong modifier. It's like multiplicatively effective with our throughput bonuses. But on top of this, it gives us this, which is what we're here for. So let's take a look. I think we just turn that on. And then see what happens. So you see that it will be consuming quite a bit more gizmos, but it'll be producing like 50% more pops. So right now, 70k soul rod are being produced, and now it's going to be... we'll wait for it to employ up, but it looks like it's over 25k. And this is like per state you can do this, because this is the cap. We are going to turn on those PMs in the rural industries. Because they're just so disgustingly efficient. The steam-powered thresher, like PMs. Do we like that? I think we like that. I think it's kind of close. I don't really know if this is better. Let's just stay off of it for now. But, okay, we also have a way worse like weekly balance than we did previously. This is something... Ryan the Rhino Gaming, thank you for the follow, big nice. This is something to consider. Like, okay, it's going to cost us more money, but this is the amount that are getting produced a month. Please employ up so we can kind of get a final number on that. Our auto queue, interestingly, is adding a bunch of fertilizer. I'm not sure why the fertilizer is the appealing thing, but okay. Okay. I see you. This is also with us getting economies of scale and a Magic Industries throughput bonus. But here, when fully employed, we're getting 27,500. We're going to round off that 22. So 27,500 per month times 12 months. So per annum, per province, we're getting 33 or 330,000, a little bit over because we rounded down. Which, like, we have 50 states. If we built this to cap in 50 states, which I don't think we would do, we would be getting 16 million pop a year off of that, which is 10% of our population. That's insane. Now, I don't think we can afford that right now, but this means you, like, functionally, like, never run out of pops. I just started playing this, and the game is a bit overwhelming, coming from CK3, and I thought CK3 was hard at the beginning. Vic3 is, like, an interesting one, because Vic3, to some extent, like, plays itself, so you could just, like, watch the game unfold, but then, like, really understanding the systems is when a lot of the gameplay patterns start to feel rewarding, because when you're playing Vic3, the fact that it can kind of play itself, it feels like nothing you do matters, but the thing is, a lot of what you do matters. It just matters, like, 5 to 10 years from now. And so the feedback you get is not very immediate. Like when you play an FPS and you go pop, 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 you get immediate feedback, like when you get a hit, because the sound is different. And so like it feels like the feedback loop is very immediate. But in Vic 3, like you want to increase your technology like spread or whatever, or how fast you can research technology, you have to like first of all you have to research a tech that will allow you to increase the institution. For this is for active research specifically for those of you who are going to be nits about it, but you have to like research something that is going to allow you to increase your max level of education investment. So you have to do something like research dialectics, but after this you'll have to research something that is going to allow you to increase the institution level, the cap of this. And so you spend time, you research that, then you have to pass a law. You pass the law, this increases it, and then what this does is it increases education access, but that doesn't directly increase literacy. That increases equilibrium towards which literacy trends. So then over the course of like 5 10, however many years, it will slowly move up the percentage that the new institution allows after you implement the institution and upgrade it. And then, once you have the higher level of literacy, you will have a higher direct research soft cap that you could utilize, but then you also have to successfully utilize it. And so the feedback from when you like started researching the thing that lets you put in the schools to when you get your first tech researched just a little bit faster, it's like 10 or 15 years or something like this. And then the feedback is also subtle because everything's been going up slowly and it's been doing equilibriums and this type of stuff. And so like you have to understand like the system of the game and how it works for that to feel like rewarding, for it to feel like you're doing something substantive. And sometimes when you mess up in the game and people are like, how do I fix this? It's like, the answer is like, do something different 10 years ago. And it's like, oh, I see. For me, EU4 was the hardest. EU4 has so many mechanics, which is a little bit different than like, transfer Dumanian, yeah, sure. We'll take that for free, whatever it is. But yeah, EU4 has like infinite mechanics. It's so hard to learn if you've never done it. But that was because it was the first one I played without having a friend to guide me from the start. But like, Vic 3, you can kind of play and not know anything, and the game will kind of like do its own thing, and it's not too bad. It doesn't feel as like hot a mess. Hey, Ryan the Rhino Gaming, thank you for the Prime subscription. Big nice. I think that's what makes these games so much fun. Yeah, once you understand what's going on, the game is way more fun, in my opinion. When you start, what's the most important things to do? So, the simplest heuristic for judging your success in the game is how much construction you can have without going bankrupt. That's the absolute simplest, like, way of looking at the game overall. Because you can think of construction as your GDP growth rate, but this is, again, a really gross oversimplification. But getting a lot of construction is very, very, probably the most important thing to do. As far as expansion and war goes, because a lot of people come to this game with a very like war-oriented perspective, I think thinking of the game as being the economy doesn't support the military supports the economy in this game, and so going really high infamy is also something I just generally don't recommend. And staying low infamy allows you to do a lot more stuff that's going to be like economically better. Why don't we move the 60 stack, the big boy, over here to deal with this, because I don't think these guys need help. Finally, we can get rid of this stupid movement by granting her leadership. Now the movement will go away. I said now the movement will go away. There you go. But see here, we can do compulsory primary school. It will be several years before that makes a difference. In terms of law passing. It can take several years for us to just pass the law. I think we still do it anyways here, but... Oh, we didn't check to see if people would be revving if we do it. Let's look and see if we have any oil rigs where there's peasants. Oh, we do. Might have some qualifications issues over there, but that's not the biggest deal. Resources. So it doesn't look like we have more peasants in that other area. Do we not have the PMs? Yeah, this is why they're not auto-expanding. The PMs are firm are currently set to pretty not very good. It's interesting that, like, I think we don't want to, like, we don't want to use these gizmo labor saving, these gizmo PMs, or these tool saving, yeah, no, tool saving PMs, yeah. And Steam Donkey might be better here, because we have a coal company and coal output. Sorry, it's rebuffering if I missed your explanation. Okay, so I said the most important thing to, like, kind of focus on, or the simplest thing to focus on, is increasing construction as much as possible. Do I max each resources? You kind of move the resources up as your demand for them goes up. Is the simplest, like, explanation. The companies for resources are particularly good, and stuff that's in the resources tab are generally the better things to focus on. Watching a playmaker try to play Vic 3 was very painful. A playmaker? Like, I'm not sure what you mean by playmaker. I'd like to colonize, but do I have to pass a law first? Yes, you have to pass something in the colonization thing. Generally resettlement or exploitation. Frontier colonization, it's limited. It kind of lets you colonize in some areas. Speaking of, I think this is still broken for us. Yeah, it is. I have a hard time on Hoey 4. Yeah, I do not know Hoey, like, well enough to, like, compare it in a substantive way. Oh, we wanted to look at trade agreements. See if we can get any. The Playmaker is an EU4 YouTuber. Gotcha. I mean, if you watched, like, the on-release videos of Victoria 3, like, nobody knew what was going on, to be fair. Like, if you watch some of my very earliest tutorials, like, the information's really low quality. That's the reason Prussia's so weak in this game. You need a military with a state. Prussia's, well, Prussia's, like, kind of, like, they're weak in an absolute sense on start, but it's actually one of the strongest starts. It's probably the second strongest start. Do you play other Paradox games? A little bit. My second most played game on Steam is EU4, but I haven't played that since Leviathan. So it's been a long time. You can't stop guaranteeing their independence here, unfortunately. I think we were trying to get these guys, yeah, but then we had to fight them. So we'll still try and get them into our block. I don't think we have anyone in our block currently. We are starting to also hit, like, late-ish game tedium here. Oh my god, quit stopping it from being... It keeps unsorting by domestic, and we want it to be by that. Let's check the PMs on the soul rot things, because I think that that's, like, irrelevant. You don't have electricity there. A lot more wishstone will be good. Where's the ectoplasm stuff? I want to see the PMs, the production methods. I don't think it's correct for us to swap all, but it's like a little bit more straightforward. So we have to get electricity wherever we have these haunted grounds. Let's sort by how many job seekers we have. And we're going to build a level 1 place in areas that have a lot of job seekers for power plants. And we'll kind of get them up and running. Power plants are still incredibly tedious. But this will hopefully allow us to do more of the soul rot stuff. We could also look for those places specifically, but we do want to get them onto electrical PMs, and it would be a little bit more micro intensive. Here we're just going to turn on a lot more stuff, but we have a lot of really low population places that don't have infrastructure, and we don't want to build electricity there, so... Because it's not worth the trade-off. We're specifically thinking of the, island in the north, west on that one, but... I think this will be a pretty good amount. But we have, I think we have a couple playthroughs on CK3 uploaded. Nothing too crazy though, in regards to other games. Looks like we're not, yeah, it looks like the pushing is just very weird. Actually, I think... So I don't know what to make of this, Connor. Commenting about a little while ago, thinking that it was, completely broken. Because here we've been pushing for forever, and yeah, we haven't gotten battles, but when, something shifts forward and then we get a battle. I think we're not playing too much longer here. We're just kind of, seeing... Look at this massive uptick here. We're just kind of seeing what this feels like. We're losing a lot of money though. How much are we paying in subsidies? A whole shitload. When we changed... This is when we swapped the PM. Okay. We should be getting 50% more pops, but I think we probably caused shortages. Let's take a look. Yeah, Thaumacore shortages. But that means we have a lot of opportunities for really profitable buildings. Let's do that. Just build the full EOS. We also have throughput bonus there. That should be the fastest at resolving this. But now we're up to close to 11 million. So now the pops are flying off the shelf as we're constructing them. Please get to the front in time, except for battles aren't really starting, so I guess we have forever. So they're starting, but not I guess the way they're supposed to. We're just gonna end up doing the landing here. But also our autoqueue is probably gonna go ballistic for those Thaumacours as well. Maybe the Thaumacore PM's not very good as well. This is something to consider. So let's take a look. We need oil. We need God's blood. I don't know. One problem with oil is, generally speaking, there's not enough of it in vanilla. This creates situations where unacceptable government. What are we doing? Oh, this is fine. I guess we'd prefer this. It creates problems in vanilla. What is this? Why do we have 0 people on that front now? We spagoot. We spaghettied. When we should have spaghettied. I woke up in my new Bugatti. It seems like you're the only one who knows. You mentioned, you're the only one who knows. You mentioned general experience and the way they get traits. Where can I look that info up before you make the video? I don't think I mentioned that I knew the general stuff that well. What do you mean? I actually don't know how that mechanic works. And I don't have a video for it. Unless you mean I mentioned that I don't know, and you're asking me where you can look up the info. I don't know, it might be in the defines. I feel like when generals are set to like offensive planner or to pushing versus defending, they are more likely to get offensive planner or defensive planner. But this is like unconfirmed. I haven't seen like a mechanic like in game specifically that like deals with that. That might be something in the defines. I've been playing Adventures in CK3 after the most recent DLC. Yeah, the DLC looks pretty sweet. Or adding that mechanic looks sweet. So let's look at our, can we look at our private queue? I forget how. My brain. There we go. So let's see just how much. Yeah, it looks like they're adding a lot of Thaumacours in places. Not quite as much as we have kind of in the back of the queue, but that's gonna be really painful. We're doing the same heuristic as we did before, where if they don't have a construction malice, we're just kind of adding 5, or if the construction malice is only like 5%. To the places with the worst tax, whatever. How are they losing, my guy? I guess we could maybe try and import. Oh, oil we can now import. Hot damn. We haven't been able to import it like this entire run. We can't import Thaumacours. The AI is not very good at utilizing all the new PMs. Yeah, this is painful. So is this. How big is our Thaumacour deficit? I guess it doesn't matter because plus 75 is plus 75, but gonna get resolved soon. Ish. I mean, we are paying a lot of money for this, like, insano pop growth. And this is gonna start coming down quite a bit. We're not using railway PMs very efficiently, though, either. So, that's another thing. We could use a Thaumacour, I think, industry to partially solve our problem. I do think this industry is probably better than what we're using with the. Do we think this is better than the steel construction? Almost certainly. Can we establish it? We need artificer guilds to establish that. Yeah, okay. I think that's in here. And our pops would be super fine with that. So. Oh, you mentioned you wanted to try a video about that, so I think you already had some info on hand. No, it's like kind of on my like to-do list. I think people are more interested in military videos than I like really support. Generally speaking, I'm not as interested in military in games as I am like economy, which is one of the reasons that attracted me to Vic 3. Like, I only have one video on the military, and it's one of my better performing videos. I should probably just make more videos on military. So since Soul Rot are real people, do you have to pay them, like, wage subsidies and stuff? I mean, the pops get spat out as, like, regular pops. I think they get spat out on slaves in kind of the start condition, but we're not really there anymore. If we look at the census data, we can see how many we have at this point. Now we have, yeah, over 11 million total have been produced. They are assimilating into Raviki, which I think is not what they want, how they want the game to work, but, also, we're slowly getting this oil coming on up. I don't know how well it's employing up. Oh, we don't have any shortages anymore, so the oil's been employing up correctly enough. Sea squid. Just looking to get some of this electricity up and running. We are going to find the urban center. The almighty urban center, which is used to get, or this is, it doesn't, the PM on the urban center, I think, is the actually best electricity PM in the game. I'm not 100% sure. It's hard to like evaluate because it also gives you infrastructure, but 3 Ellie into 3 services and 250 pops is like pretty efficient. But mainly it's like not enormous, so like it's really good for helping you to build up. We're probably gonna delete a lot of any university over level 1. Even these level 1s that we have around for qualifications, or like, well, we didn't build them. They're not really around for qualifications, but yeah, there's where we wanted. We wanted to put all these power plants on auto-expand. Which, like, helps some of the nonsense, but there's still quite a bit of nonsense. We will just use a naval landing to finish these guys off. Yeah, the way the fronts are pushing is definitely broken from the update. Make a video on how to create an ultra-militaristic fascist dictatorship to take over the world. I mean, we have a video where we had this really pushed and difficult war, and to the extent that we have military videos, that's maybe one. Soul Right settle in. Soul Right have become such a large percentage of the population in this place that they've become an irreseparable part of the culture. Either way, it's going to become a homeland. We have no discrimination, so I think we're going to just give Soul Right building Soul Right output. But at this point, I mean, we could look at how many Soul Rights are getting produced in our nation, like, entirely as a good, I think. They don't get sold, but we're producing 17.5k. There's no consumption of it. And it looks like maybe 9x, whatever that number is the amount of guys we're getting per annum. So 17.5k times 9. Well, let's actually do the actual math. Okay, so we have 27,552 here in terms of the amount of pops that are getting produced. Divided by the good, we have 3.65 thousand. Divided by 3 point... Oh, wait. Okay, wait. 27,552 divided by 3650. So per pop, we're getting 7.5, or per good, we're getting 7.5 pops. And then in our market, in total, we have 17.5k goods, so times 17.5 times 1,000. Is that right? We like did the math a little bit wrong. So we're back to 7.52, and then times this by 17,500. I keep on putting a decimal in when I shouldn't. And so what we get is we are building 130,000 pops a year. Oh no, wait, that's per month. To annualize it, we're getting 1.5 million pops a year from producing these guys. And that is double our just native pop growth. He's doing math on stream. Hide your children. Hide them. The live spreadsheeting is kind of wild, to be honest. Big nice. So hide the kids. So you see this uptick when we started producing a bunch more of these factories. That's kind of bananas, man. And I mean, we're paying a lot for this. And I know but I say that I've often said the most important resource in Victoria 3 is souls, except for what we're producing is technically soulless, so I guess they don't count. I'm a real boy. And look, our subsidies have just are dramatically decreasing as we solve the input issues, because these buildings can be making money. So, you know, as we decrease the price of like thermocores or whatever in the market, and also importantly, coal and, well, these actually might not even, it might not even be worth us to be on the full labor saving gamut. I think it is because we have a lot of coal industries, and so in general we would prefer to do this, but we could also just jam up the coal quite a bit. What is this? Bro, we don't even know what this does. Alright, let's take a look. What is this industry even? Oh, it just produces relics? Okay, well, fair. Archaeology, these are wishstone deposits. Let's actually just make sure that these PMs are up so that they get used. And this is coal mines, so we're really the most job seekers. We're just gonna blast a few coal mines, man. Yeah, double our native pop growth is kind of insane. Or more than double. Not that we have like the craziest pop growth numbers, because it's not like we have a lot of the good modifiers for that type of stuff. We only have health system level 2. But oh, also pollution in this mod is insane. That was kind of another thing that was a little bit interesting. Base effect of minus 100% state construction efficiency, minus 100% infrastructure, minus 200%, or plus 200% mortality, minus 200% migration attraction. Insane, dog. The pollution thing is a bug, it doesn't actually do that? Okay. That makes sense. It it definitely doesn't feel like that big an effect, but that is a huge, massive effect. Oh, is it just this? This is what we're actually getting? That looks kind of normal. That looks insane. I think everyone's a Dominion at this point, so we could start reducing people to puppet. Wait, someone left. Someone left the block. No. Can't invite anyone, the truth hurts. No one wants to be our friend. You left? Damn. The truth hurts. We're just gonna eat the setback here. That's not as regressive as Kim Salt is, because lower rung pops consume it. Not that we really care that as much, though, in our current situation, because we are just building pops. She said I could fix him, we said we can build him. Also, like, look at our pop levels. Our population has gotten so freaking high. Like, if we look at global pop, like, heat map, we're now matching, like, the China equivalent. Spaghetti with setback, yum yum, delicious. Oh, we also want to demobilize our armies, I suppose. Let's actually just help them finish this war, maybe. And demobilize this one. Maybe be a good ally for once. Instead of just smallatering them all the time. Cena. That's super close. We have max military power. I mean, we might be able to get that if we swapped around ideology of government. I think we'll just kind of chill, though. I think we're... I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to check, but I think that we've kind of already got, like, what we wanted. I wish there was something that estimated your migration per annum, or showed your migration per annum over time, or something like this, so you could, like, really have an idea of how much migration you were getting relative to your native pop growth. We still have a bunch of Thalmacores in here. Let's look at the inputs for these, how expensive they are. Yeah, so the ectoplasm is getting really expensive. I think this is real good. The hippopotamus looks a little like the ectoplasm thing. I guess, is it an industry good or an agricultural good then? Is it under development? Am I just crazy and I'm just not seeing it? Oh, we did want to start swapping onto machine tools. I'm gonna swap a couple in order to create demand, so because rubber hasn't been able to employ up yet. But we're just looking for the thingamajig, our personal favorite. A lot of more buildings to scroll through in this mod, which is like kind of a bit of a vibe. We'll swap onto electric sawmills, which will get a lot of the things up employing. another PM that's also like very efficient. We're just missing the ectoplasm dog. Oh, I guess we need to scroll to the bottom for some of the new industries, but yeah, we want to swap as many onto paranormal containment teams as possible, and then now we're gonna have a shortage in a bunch of places that need power. I forgot it. In terms of UI, the best way to do this. Yeah. I don't know if we need that many. Some of these places haven't employed up yet. So a lot of the deficits on these things do not look too big. It looks like we're producing 100 per level, right? So as long as they're not over by over 100, they will kind of employ up and figure it out. With gizmos being in the game, I wasn't sure if the thingamajig was a real thing. Yep, gotta keep them on your toes. I've started to use the big building registry exclusively. Like this. To expand and build stuff. I mean, you might be right with that one. Definitely not how we're used to doing it. The user interfaces has changed so much since we like started playing. Bad habits, right? It didn't change, right? The PMs changed, but not on every single building. It did change a lot of them, though. Which is why we're running shortages in some places. They just have to employ up, though. Is it going to step ladder up every time we produce soulrite? Because we built all the buildings at a similar time, so they're all going to finish producing pops at a similar time? That'd be kind of interesting. Get a fascist party. Shout out to fascism next patch. Whoa, the auto queue is going ballistic with this. I don't hate it, because, I mean, we are importing a ton of paper, but that's interesting. I guess we'll need some more infrastructure. Actually, we probably don't need infrastructure there. Actually, we visually confirmed that we really don't need infrastructure there. Allow me to rephrase everything I've ever said ever. Alright, if they have a lot of job seekers, then that means we can add to improve infrastructure quite a bit, and once they have more infrastructure, they will be able to auto-queue stuff a little bit better. But we're keeping an eye on that number, so this 6K one, that's not a lot of job seekers. I think they're fine with only having +4 infrastructure. So let's do some of that. Let's do that. I don't think we want the communists coming back. Yep, so subsidies continue to decrease. So the actual expense of the soul rod assembly plants was very like kind of frictional that it was going to be that expensive. Is this an expensive pipeline? It's not. We'll pay 200 for some industrialist approval for 5 years, honestly. Even in like infrastructure benefit aside, the soul rights settle in. They're not discriminated against, so I think we'll just prefer that. I don't even know all the positive benefits from something being a homeland, to be honest. Pops are prone to migrate to their homelands than other states, and pops who reside there will never consider assimilating. Oh, so we're making it so they won't assimilate. Or they won't assimilate once it's a homeland. That's interesting. That's one way to keep them all as soul rot rather than Ravik. Because I think that here we probably should have... I guess... Wow, it's crazy this is not a homeland for... But you could do this in such a way where your pop growth isn't so big from these buildings that you start getting these soul rot being the kind of homelands. But I think that I would not be shocked if some of these areas have homelands for soul rot for us. I guess not. I mean, we didn't do... It was kind of a while back. Or, I mean, we haven't been doing it that long. But they are starting to get employed up. Have we hit 50k here yet? I think we were like 40k last time we checked. The population. Yeah, now the next batch of 10k has come in. They're all peasants right now, though. For the most part. I mean, they haven't really upgraded off the peasants at like 2,000 have upgraded off of being peasants, basically. I suppose that's something. And then they come to work here, and then they're producing more pops with which to, you know, kind of ramp up. I really wish that something like this... I just see this and my brain screams like Antofagasta, which is like such a good state because it has a ton of resources but only has 10 arable land, so you can't ever get the migration there. It's like super obnoxious. Can we export glass yet? No, we're not in that type of position. But, so right now I'm trying to tank porcelain price a little bit. And I think that we have some glass manufacturers that are, yeah, somewhat close to the EOS, but not quite there yet. So we're going to EOS these. That is economies of scale. For those of you a little bit less familiar. So, and then we will also build some railways at the front of the queue in these places. And then... because we want them to supply basically the glass to other places. We are good. What all is our monument giving us? Are we at a point? I think it gives us a combination of decree cost. Is it really just decree cost and nothing else? I thought it gave another thing, another modifier. I guess not. So we're only using it where we have decrees. Homeland also mean no malaria. Oh, that's big. I didn't even think about that. That's nice. So, and we start to get all these modifiers here. The output modifier is going to make a lot of these much more profitable for the next 5 years. But the soul rot do indeed settle in. It might be that they can only settle in areas that are our homelands. Of our starting thing. Dumonian Empire. Why can we side against them? Don't we have a guarantee independence? I guess we do, but... weird. Perfil is someone we were trying to get into... or they're genial with us right now. Take out anyone's debt? No. I think these guys, are they still poor? They are still poor. Shout out to them. We'll maybe try and get those guys in. Something like this. Take a look at things stand. Now we're up to 12.6 total billion. And some of these places won't assimilate now. And the cost of our subsidies is plummeting even further, down to 500k for all the soul rot places. Eco's cranking up, but there's still like 1.5 million a year. There's a lot. And this is again without like fully maxing it out. Compulsory primary school is going to be really nice. I think we also have a penalty to tax current for our law pass that's going to go away once we finish passing the law. Something like that. Because we do need to, in order to make use of this, and this harkens back to kind of like something we said earlier in the stream, in order to make use of this, we need to build a bunch of administration too. Or talking about lagging effects in feedback and this type of thing. But we do get refunded. A little bit. Because we're no longer eating the malice. I think because we want that one company, us going Artificer Guild certainly makes a bit of sense here. I think in the capital we could turn on... No, don't downgrade. Not like this. Not my gumdrop buttons. I think we're gonna do this. Which should create a rubber shortage, but our rubber places should all start auto-expanding basically instantly, right? As the rubber price goes up. It's under agriculture, so... We'll put all of them on auto-expand as well, although they should be auto-expanding anyway. I think they're at the bottom of rural. I mean, the auto queue should be just slapping in a ton of them at the current price. We're barely running a shortage with that swap, so... Hey Potrack, how's it going? Kind of having... This is definitely going to be a shorter stream. I think we're coming to the end of it, but we are testing a little bit before we make a video on this mod. A little bit, and talking about comparative advantage as well. Oh no, some of our trade routes died, not like this. Don't know why they don't have market access. Or them with the port. We'll swap Anchorage. Maybe that makes a difference. I really wish that this didn't show, when it showed a shortage, I wish it showed you how much you were over the shortage amount, not how much you were over the base price amount. So like currently if we take a look here, it says 1148 here. So it's like, wow, I'm missing 1148. It's like, no, we're actually only missing a little bit in order to not be running a shortage, not be running the shortage penalty, and instead just have plus 75 price. So at 2.12, we would be on plus 75 but no shortage, because when you are double your sell orders, this is the breakpoint at which you hit plus 75 / the shortage threshold, and we're at 2.21, so it's 0.09 is or or 90, we have to produce like 90 more rubber, which is not too bad to be avoiding a shortage. So truly, and like each rubber produces like what, like 30 or something? I forget what the base PM produces in nominal amounts. But like, also the shortage equilibrium towards which you trend is based on how severe the shortage is. So like, we're barely running like a penalty for that level of a shortage. Happy to catch what I can. It feeds my victory addiction until the new updates come. Super excited for 1.8. 1.8 is going to be really big for modders, I think. I know we're calling it the racism patch, but it's like really like the modder patch. Also some people seem upset about the racism patch as like the title of it, but like I think it's amusing. So mixed bag on that. Do we have enough admin now to upgrade? Yeah, so we'll upgrade to max level of education, which will be fantastic for us. Para us. Ooh, really coming up with this annual projected growth. Still, I mean, like, we could afford more soul rot factories as well. Now that things have cooled down a little bit. The subsidies are down to 500k. We could also just not subsidize the buildings and try and make them profitable, but I'm not sure how well that would play out. They already have a throughput bonus, but they're like the PM is just barely kind of efficient. It's like it's not a very good PM. So you also have to consider what's the cost of like doing these buildings. We also, like, if we could do the otherworldly gizmo PM, like, this would be a lot better, but we have nowhere near enough oil. Our oil's at plus 70. We will absolutely make use of the social hierarchy and discrimination rework. Like, I think it'll be super sweet for Ravik specifically, because what we've done, I assume you don't want this to be a thing, but, like, I don't know how you avoid it. Where, like, the soul rot pops are being assimilated. Like, I assume that's not something you want happening. To be fair, making the mechanic for making it a homeland is an elegant solution to this. Like, this is, right as it stands, we've made about 13 million soul rot in total, and 5.5 million of them have been converted to our primary culture. Also, hidden hero for Exether team, dynamic renaming. Interesting. Conquer some more oil. We don't really know where the oil is in this. Other countries haven't discovered the oil, and we don't really know where it is. I assume someone's under Bloodthorn. That's who we're going for next. There's quite a bit down here, but that's kind of already where we've been conquering. So, I think there's some more by Bloodthorn. These guys allegedly have it. Our map is, of course, scuffed. We do, in fact, not want you to take the robots and make them people. Yeah. I assume there will be some sort of tool that you could use to prevent that in upcoming 1.8. Like, categorically prevent that. And so there's a bunch of other features like dynamic interest groups, you being able to control like what sort of like economic type you have based on strategic region is also interesting. So you could have areas that are colonial have a different economic system, which is like wild as hell. As also, There's no map mode for places with potential oil? No, there's not. Because only potential, when it shows potential, it only shows discoverable. So here's where oil is being produced worldwide. Here's potentials on map. So some places are discovering it. But most of the places that are showing potentials are actually belong to us. Except for over here. So we could go for Devil's Isle, I guess. Are they recognized? No. Yeah, I mean, we could just try and conquer a bunch from them. Maybe this is the play. As far as having the borders nice looking, I kind of like going after Bloodthorn. But I guess maybe we're never having nice looking borders because they updated the game. And Thiril is right here and over there. I see you were continuing the game. We updated yesterday, and now every state got shuffled a bit. I noticed the states got shuffled a little bit. It's a little bit scuffed. I mainly just wanted to check something before I made it a video, or I wanted to try and push the pop numbers on using the Solrot assemblies. And where we had gotten it, we had like a total of... We were getting 2 million Solrot pops per... Or sorry, we were getting like around 1.5 million of the pops, while our regular pop growth was sitting at 750k, although our regular annual pop growths come up quite a bit since we got our health institution. But the health institution will be like multiplicatively effective with Soul Rot building. I wish there was something in vanilla where it would show your pop growth from migration. That way you can like properly compare all of the things simultaneously, but there's not. But this is like, we're trying to push this number up to see just how buildy we could get with these things. I think at a certain point we're just going to be gated by the amount of, not by the Soul Rot limit here, or limit for there, that you can build the things to, but the haunted whatever things. It's sometimes a little bit hard to find stuff in the UI, because there's so many different building types. So we might be gated by the amount of haunted grounds we have. Because if you see here, like, we're like currently maxing them out, and they are on the later PM, or the latest PM. And we still, like, aren't producing enough ectoplasm, basically, to supply some of these things. Would this be better? There we go. I actually really like the Soul Rot assembly type building though, relative to vanilla, thinking of states like this where you only have like 10k pops, like Sinai and Antofagasta, where you would really, like, there are resources there, but the amount of arable land is so low that you can never get migration there. And we see that up here in the north. And I think that I really like the building specifically for that, because we've just been producing pops. They come in wave of 10k. It does take forever for them to become literate enough to have qualifications to, like, not want to be peasants specifically, but only gnomes can build people? Yes. Time to conquer every coastline for ship graveyards? Basically. Gnomes can and dwarves dig up more dwarves, if I remember correctly. Wait, dwarves dig up more dwarves? This is news to me. Dwarves dig up more dwarves? I know there's some insane pop growth for the mice modifiers, but like I don't necessarily think that the building the pops is better than like really insane pop growth modifiers. I see that you capped it at 30, so I assume it was a concern, or a balance issue in some way. We swapped to the dwarves to check the dwarves. Wait, how do they dig up more dwarves? I guess I should have asked you before I swapped. Are we gonna look at the bottom here? Oh, snap. I didn't even notice this. Starwoken and petrified per month. Interesting. So, renovated God's Vein Vault. Do we have any of those? So there's some collapsed ones. So I assume eventually you could use these and it's like a gold thing and you find them. Interesting. Would have to be the non-claustrophobic dwarves. I don't know the distinction between the dwarves. But, I mean, it looks like we found some of that pop growth. But 5% state construction efficiency is huge as well. I guess we never took a look at the tech tree for a lot of these guys. Let's swap to these guys. Human superiority, tech spread, migration quota. Heroes. So far the heroes and adventurers seem like something that's not super well fleshed out. Like, it seems like you guys are planning on scaffolding more on top of that. So if we take a look here, do we have a unique tech at the bottom for these guys? Elven Beauty. Infamy Decay, dog. And investment pool contribution is huge as well. Alright, a bunch of people wanted me to play the mice. Let's check the mices. What is Exether from? I think the mod description says it's D&D inspired. Which makes me, of course, believe that it's a 10% birth rate. I think that's pretty strong. Home offense and defense is kind of meh. Elven next. I don't know if we're gonna be... People in general seem to be agitating for vanilla. While I'm enjoying the mod, I have to balance, like, the two things, you know? Plus 20% minting. One of the devs is in here. The guys who works on the mod is... Or I guess we could swap and see if it's capped. I'm trying to think if minting is capped. If minting is capped, like it is a vanilla, getting a minting modifier is much worse. Yeah, minting is capped. Let's look at the burb people. 10% birth rate is roughly 5.5% pop growth. I mean, that's quite a bit. I think that's exactly what we're getting with Ravik. Which is, at this point, a little bit less than what we're getting from the Soul Rod assembly things. Of course, we could build more of them. They're not profitable, but like they're not profitable, but they re-inject money into the economy. So the fact that you can re-inject by building more people is really substantive, because normally you re-inject by adding construction. Eventually you run out of peasants. When you run out of peasants, then your construction is much less efficient. So in theory, with Ravik, what you would do is, as you run out of peasants, you just add more peasants instead of more construction. Like, we probably turned up too early. Trade route volume. Radicals. Advancement speed. Advancement speed and formation speed are interesting modifiers with the front spaghetti. Use spaghetti harder. Welsh dragons. I can't read the Welsh. I don't know how. Goblin Tide. Ugh. Oh, minus Milgood's cost 25%. Per row. That's a modifier. It's a modifier that's not that strong unless you stack it, but then if you stack it, it's like insane. Minus 10, so that's minus 35 in total. I mean, I think China gets up to plus 20% and they can stack up to plus 65% in total. So that means I assume you can stack up to plus 70% on these guys, unless you have an Arcana card that lets you get more. Minus Milgood's cost. Which you don't. Okay. So 70 is still a lot. Ulog has Goblin Hordes tech, but it also has a modifier that it eradicates the negatives, favorite country, if they keep their JE. And they got mass conscription tech. Doesn't that give a minus? Mass conscription tech? Oh, I guess it would be here. Does mass conscription tech give a minus now? Is this a 1.7 change? I think you might be right. This is something that I haven't thought about. Where is mass conscription? Am I just super brain going blank here? Is there something that gets minus military goods cost? I don't know. You're making me second guess myself here. Abdicate to homesteading when? Not like this. China's minus 30% with powerful armed forces. Okay, then these guys would be minus 60. Goblin Tide. So they start with it. Also, the goblins is like not removable. Is like kind of an important distinction, right? Yeah, we're just... whereas the Chinese one, you have to have the military be happy and powerful, which is much less consistent. What did our tech on Ravik give? I don't even remember. I think logistics used to and Paradox kicked it out, maybe. That would make sense. It's a modifier you have to be careful with. It's like, if you only have one or two sources of it, it's not very good at all, but if you stack a bunch of them, it's insane. and like stuff like that is generally hard to balance, and you have to, the way you balance it is just by making it impossible to get a lot of it. Yeah, they don't give any gnomish research, so this is what gives us the soul rot. Plus innovation. Yeah, overall this doesn't seem that great, other than you get the building. But the elf one seems like really insane. What does the orcs get? Orcs. Pretty sure logistics to talk about. The modifier I'm talking about is minus military goods cost. Welcome to the stream, Palea. Although, we're kind of wrapping up the stream. Because I wanted to check something before I made a video. Training rate, meh. Oh, this is pretty... not very good. But I didn't realize every single one of these guys has a unique tech. Or I think the races in general. All minus cost modifiers should stack multiplicatively. That would fix stacking for the most part. Yeah, I agree. It would fix the stacking. And also you could be more aggressive with the modifiers then. Like you can make them bigger if you wanted. There's human superiority. You ever looked at these guys or Payaz? Wouldn't mind me some of that orcish grit. Looks like grit's back on the menu, boys. Naga cruelty. Oh, they're Naga? I didn't understand. Plus 15% minimum standard of living. Bureaucracy modifier. Radicals from discrimination, loyalists. Morale damage, authority. It's kind of okay. Removes psionic storm. I think overall the elf one has seemed the best with the extra infamy decay. That's like, infamy decay is like a weird modifier to, like, the way infamy works should probably just be different. It's like a weird... The fact that minus infamy generation and minus infamy decay are two of the most important modifiers is just a very strange thing. Alright, so it's the draconic heritage that we've seen before. So I don't think we've checked these guys, necessarily. Devil's Exile. What about these guys? We also haven't checked Dark Elves. I know we haven't checked Dark Elves, so let's look at it. Dwarves have a pop growth one that's cool. Yeah, the dwarves bonus seems insane though, with the construction and also getting the pop growth buildings. So they might just be, dwarves might just be best. I don't know. The elves also seem particularly strong. But, like, more interesting than just, like, a power level thing. I think that it can make your runs different is a thing. So, plus influence, I think, is a pretty strong modifier. There's not a lot of sources, if I recall correctly, of percentage influence. And if you go external trade with this, like, that ends up being quite a big chunk of influence. Like, that's probably going to be at least one more Diplo action you can take. Minus mortality... I suppose offset the birth rate. I think the investment pool, Archmage's investment pool contribution is pretty strong. I don't know how many of what proportion of our stuff is wizard towers. We'll check in Ravik in a second. And we'll see if these guys get their own minus loan interest rate. Plus 100 Arcana seems really bad as a bonus. Unless they have another source of plus 100 to allow them to slot in additional cards in total. Right, because they're still going to be limited on the same number of cards. But we can swap back to Ravik and take a look. Infamy feels like a stop-go system that hasn't gotten replaced yet. Yeah, I mean, I think that the fact that the metagame just or like my opinion of the metagame revolves so much about like being able to declare more wars without having to suffer international consequences for those wars is like, okay. So we have 1,300 wizard towers. And then we have financial districts F. So we have triple the number of financial districts, and then manor houses partially are informed by subsistence farms, so they're kind of hard to evaluate. But the overall productivity of these buildings is pretty high. They own a lot of the magical stuff. Investment pool contribution of these guys going up is pretty significant, I think. For the elves giving this as a modifier. So workforce dividends is this. Reinvestment looks like it's roughly a third? A little under a third. That's fine. And it is from the wizards, right? On top of the archmages. Or the archmages plus wizards. So archmages are maybe reinvesting 20% or something, or 25%. And so upping this to 45%, that's actually huge as a modifier. So dwarves don't build those, so they can't scale it with provinces like gnomes. They have to like discover it. Yeah, but they also get 5% construction efficiency, which is insane. We already reduced infamy costs for this mod, especially for unrex, shitting unrex. Now you increase infamy costs by adding hegemon. Yeah, unless you're playing it like multiplayer. If you're playing it multiplayer, it's gonna be really hard to get hegemon, right? If you check the Dark Elf there before Central Elves, they get the same modifier as the other elves did. But you mean these ones? They're below the Central Elves. Oh, half elves. Renor, I assume, is the half elf. Maybe they get both modifiers. That'd be insane. I imagine they get one or the other. Oh wait, do they just get both? Looks like they get the Elven Beauty modifier, and looks like they get the Human Superiority modifier. They do get both. I think the Human modifier is kind of butt, so it's not that big a deal, I don't think. I mean, I think the investment pool contribution modifier is real strong. Check faiths on elves and dwarves. We've already looked through all the arcana faiths on these guys before, but I think a lot of the dwarves that we've seen have pretty good ones. Tech research speed in particular is really strong, but I think that's the only strong one in Sphinx. Unicorn has... Oh man, now I'm going to feel bad because I'm about ready to end the stream. Thank you so very much for the donation, Victor Velar. Why? When is it good to go high taxes? So you should definitely go high taxes at the very start of the game, because there's a modifier that makes it so you're less susceptible to standard of living changes for the first 2 years of the game. Which means that you want to lower SOL in some sense, because then you will get a creep back. So you, first 2 years you always want to be max taxes no matter what, like pretty unconditionally. Although I haven't looked at this analysis as much myself, this is just what another person had revealed, like kind of through their analysis. And then, secondly, you generally want to run as high taxes as long as you can, while simultaneously not having a construction penalty from radicalism that is popping up. And this is something that's kind of like hard to give like a heuristic or a rule that's really going to make sense. But your primary trade-off, because migration is so easy to achieve when you use labor-saving PMs and just increase the wage multiplier of your country, like trying to raise SOL by decreasing wages is just not as effective as employing everyone and then using labor-saving PMs to increase migration. And so the main kind of thing is going to be this. It's going to be the radicalism, because if you get enough radicalism, it devalues your construction because you start getting turmoil. Let's find a place we recently conquered we could show. So, for example, there's turmoil here. We're getting state construction efficiency malice. So there's no point in taxing more to add more construction if everywhere you're building has the state construction efficiency malice, because you have so much turmoil, because you have so many radical pops. So this is the primary thing. Currently, as it stands in the game, you can abdicate very aggressively, resign from office in order to, if you do it in the face of a revolution, you'll get a bunch of loyalists. This is going to be changed in 1.8, but as it stands right now, this is kind of one of the ways you combat radicalism. There's a bunch of other ways to combat radicalism, like getting guaranteed liberties, this type of stuff, so that you can maintain high taxes. But this is going to be one of the ways you look at it. At a certain point, lowering these taxes can make sense when you are trying to push bonuses and your economy is already really big, because getting the industrialists happy and trade unionists happy and Intelligentsia happy all at the same time and all powerful is like a really good play pattern. It's really strong. So there are periods in time where it's somewhat good. Should you ever set it to low? Not really anymore with some of the migration changes they've had, as long as you're really proactive about moving on to multiculturalism and securing some sort of migration feeder opportunity from countries that have enormous amount of pops. Or like in the hyper late game, when you run out of, if you're completely out of peasants, then lowering taxes is more effective, generally speaking, than adding more construction. If you have zero peasants and you're already really aggressively using a lot of labor-saving PMs, then lowering taxes is good. I really enjoy your content. Love from Brazil. Thank you so very much. Hopefully I answered some of those questions. For the most part, it's... yeah, you want to be... I guess one of the simpler heuristics is if you're out of peasants or you're running out of peasants, adding more construction is not going to be very good. If you're already using as many labor-saving PMs as you can, adding more construction is not that useful. It helps you recomp your economy slightly, but like it's not going to be as useful as reducing taxes. I love accidentally forgetting to raise taxes, the truth hurts. If you're experienced, I'd recommend fighting a rev to reduce radicalism or lowering taxes for radicalism over lowering... Yeah. So... this might change in 1.8 as well. I think if you're answering, or if you're asking the question, what should I do? You can rev, but like maybe it's just more straightforward to not rev. Until everyone jumps you during a revolution. They generally don't if you're playing nice with all the GPs, but now we're starting to add a lot more complexity to the question. But this is definitely another approach as well. That is going to, if you are being as min-maxy as possible, I kind of don't like revving just to reset infamy or reset radicalism, but that's just like a me idiosyncrasy thing. Switching sides in a revolution is cringe. Yeah. I don't like doing that. It also resets all your auto expands, if I recall correctly, when you switch sides. Chad's just abdicate, basically. Connor doesn't know how satisfying it is to get to 99 infamy perfectly, time of bankruptcy with your revolution. Oh, baby. Resetting the infamy and the bankruptcy. Pure magic. Like, that's like the theoretical, like, sense, but, like, I think if someone's playing relatively standard, I think the solution, or the way to think about it is, like, you're doing this to combat radicalism. But yes, you guys are correct in that you can use a rev. The feeling when you win the cut down to size war the moment before your res pops. Oof. Oof. So, I forgot what we were saying before this. Before all this came up. I do think we're kind of nearing the end of our little experiment here, as it were. Oil's the future, not the children. The oil. The children of the oil. Win civil war for bankruptcy reset? Basically. I mean, it's, going into bankruptcy now isn't anywhere near as bad as it was. Like, you can win wars with the offense and defense penalties if you just, like, micro your brains out or have a way bigger army. So it's like, the biggest penalty for declaring bankruptcy is no longer there, which was the construction malice. So, if you're doing it right, getting almost all your states to your economy will be fine. Yeah. There's some stuff that should maybe be reworked. Oh wait, we don't want to continue from here. We were looking at a bunch of different countries, but we've swapped off of our auto expands, so we would want to load the game. But we were looking at bonuses. That's what we were doing. So the Gnomish. So wait, I wonder if Dark Elves also have 2. Because the Half Elves have 2. Magic System 3.0 probably coming with the 1.8 update for us, by the way. That is good to know. How many guys are on the team for this mod? No, they just have Elven Beauty. I mean, I think that this is probably the best modifier. 1,300 people? I think in theory you could reset your infamy back to 0 by declaring 1,300 infamy worth of war goals and the white piecing all the wars. Oh, I think you're correct. I think at that point you might as well just win the wars. You know what's interesting? I wonder what happens when you declare war for a war goal, and then you change the cost of the war goal mid-war, and then you white peace, if that does something. So, let's say I start a war without a cautious ruler, or I start a war with a cautious ruler, and then I white peace when I don't have a cautious ruler. Does this make it so I actually get positive infamy? That might be more straightforward than the 1,300 infamy, or that in conjunction with the 1,300 infamy. I mean, I think if you could declare 1,300 infamy of wars without winning or losing a single one of those wars, you could probably just go high infamy and it doesn't matter, but that's super cute. What's with the Dark Dwarves? Blackstone Covenant? Oh, let's look. Blackstone Covenant. Infamy credit rating, basically. No, for those of you who are trying to figure out why declaring 1,300 infamy and then white piecing works, it is because when you have a war goal and you don't enforce it, you get refunded 75%. So what he's suggesting is spending 1,300 worth of infamy, which caps at 1k, so you'll still have just 1k infamy, and then refunding all 1,300 of it and getting a 75% return. So if you started with 1,000 infamy and you declare 1,300 worth of infamy, you'll still be at 1,000, and then it'll refund 1,000 infamy to you instead of, because there's a cap of 1,000 and you can't go up to 2,300 and then refund, 1,000. It's just regular Dwarven engineering, it looks like. Which is, like, the radicals and loyalists in accepted cultures is also just a spectacular modifier. The political strength of engineers is insane. The minus mortality on laborers is pretty nice. But the state construction efficiency and infrastructure is insane. Hey Gene, happy Monday. If you swap between cautious and reckless, it counts the current infamy cost, then this would gain infamy. Yeah. But if you could do it the other way around, right? You declare with reckless and then you... Oh no, wait, you declare with cautious and then you white peace with reckless. Then I think it would net you... That's super cute. I mean, like, I don't think I would want to abuse that. Like, in terms of things I would be wanting to abuse, I don't think I would do it, but, you like the state construction efficiency play? You think this is better than the elf bonus? I'm not sure. I think it's kind of close. I think the elf bonus is probably a little bit better. I mean, maybe we could take a little quick vote. Which bonus do we think is best between these two? I think it's between these two. Elves and dwarves are insane. Humans need a buff. Yeah, humans is pretty weak. I mean, migration quota is like a somewhat nice modifier, I think. I guess to show what elves are getting, let's kind of do that. Gnomes is pretty good because you get the building, but like honestly, I think that the building, like the investment on the building is somewhat substantive. I don't know if it, like, I think elves and dwarves are probably better than the gnomes. But this is what we're getting on elves. Where we're getting plus infamy decay, plus 5% influence, which influence is very closely related to infamy decay in that if you could float more influence, then you'll get further infamy decay. But a big part of it is the Archmage's investment pool contribution. We were taking a look at it, and I think, well... Let's actually swap to Ravik and see what percentage is coming from the Wizards Towers on a reinvestment. But this investment pool contribution, I suppose it's just flat contribution, so it's just income. It's not a free money modifier. And I don't think that this provides free money modifiers. And I don't think that any of these economic systems give any modifiers to... Which maybe this is something for the modders to include is like a wizard economic system or a wizard-oriented economy or something like this. But let's kind of take a look at our investment pool change. Reinvestment is 1.5 million. And the Wizards Towers, God, the manor houses are barely anything. So, adventuring guilds are also... I forgot, adventuring guilds, I think, are an ownership class. But it looks like... as a percentage of stuff that is owner class buildings, because we're going to all the stuff that's owned by the state we have to call a wash. It looks like there's maybe 1.2 million. So it's roughly a third of our economy is under Wizard Towers. What's the base Archmage investment pool contribution? It's like somewhere between 20 and 25. To be fair, this is also with the financial districts getting like plus 45%, or no, plus 25%, this number. So this number is that they're receiving here is with a bonus, not without one. So it's about half of the amount we're getting from financial districts. Let's kind of try and answer the question here. For the Wizard Tower. If we take a look here and we look at the weekly balance, it's 1,800. Reinvestment is a little bit under a third. I don't know if there's a confound if one of these guys, these guys are considered have a different modifier than Archmages. So if there's Archmages and then and then the Wizards and they have different contribution. Because Clergy is an owner class. I think Adventurers is an Norn class. I think Wizards is also an Norn class, and their modifier might be different. I meant gain infinity to spend, yeah. Yeah, can you check the halflings? Where are the halflings? Can you give me a name on them? Adventure guilds don't have good buildings to invest in. Most of them are resources / hunting. I tested it. Unfortunately, the thought of it doesn't give free infamy. Damn. I guess we could look around for halflings. The mouse bonus also seems pretty good, to be honest. I know there's a mouse out here. Mousy, 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 where are you? Mousy, mousy. The mouse modifier seems... Well, it seemed... 10% birth rate seems like a pretty good amount. Like, it's super straightforward, but... They're next to Amador. Clear bow. Okay. Oh, got it. Well, these are halflings. Okay, let's take a look. Can you play the modern day mod? Is it any good? I have to filter every time, every suggestion you make through the is Palea trolling metric. Is it very good? All you have to do to download it is step outside. Improve relation speed is an interesting one. 25% migration traction. And we'll +1 SOL. I think it's probably not close to being as good as the dwarves or the elves, but still pretty good. Looks like you guys mainly like the dwarf modifier. Hey Rusakov, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. We are doing a little bit of a short one today. It's 100% unfinished. Every state starts with 0 tech. Every country starts with 0 techs. I think we will not be trying that. Are you gonna play Age of History? I took a little bit of a look at it. It looks like kind of like an unpolished. Visually, it didn't look that polished. I'd have to take a closer look at like some of the like underlying mechanics and see if I really want to kind of take a jump in. I think as far as branching out, I'm mainly interested right now. I'm playing some Romance of the Three Kingdoms 8 remake, which is a little bit self-indulgent, and I might stream that later on in the week. And then playing some amount of Civ 6 before Civ 7 releases. Dwarves are best, Davendorsed opinion. I think it's close between dwarves and elves, but I think that's probably correct. People who vote dwarf hate dwarfware. You're here for at least 2 hours? Okay, okay. We've been like, kind of like having the end of or discussion towards the end of this experimentation, because I think we kind of got the information we wanted here. Are these a different race? These are just humans, right? Yeah. Human superiority seems pretty weak, but taking a look... Just construction efficiency is just very strong, but infamy decay is also like... It's also a strong modifier. The birth rate mortality shift is probably just bad if we are assuming that birth rate's better than mortality, which I think it is. I have to take a look. Vampires in Dreadmore, Kobolds on the Dragon Isles, Gnolls and Skaven for more tech. Alright, let's find. Let's see it. As a halfling, I will not take this blatant dev favoritism. Oh, bang bang. Monstrous adaptation. This just seems worse than dwarves. Kobolds around the Dragon Isles. We did look at kobolds a little bit, I think. Gnolls and Scraven, though. Oh, they do look a little bit different. Civ 7 looking fire. Yeah, very excited for that. And like I have to consider it with a balance. Looks like they have the same monstrous thing. Dragon Isles. Let's see if we can find Dragon Isles and see if oh, is this a different race? Let's see. Okay. I think that we've looked at one of the like draconian ones. Draconic heritage, yeah. Where we thought overall the problem with this modifier is it falls off. Minting and prestige just both fall off. Well, prestige isn't a very good modifier anyways, but like minting only scales with your economy up to a certain size, so if the devs wanted to make this scale, they would have to uncap minting. At 1 standard of living, mortality is better. Poggers, we just have to reduce them. Isn't there a cultural map mode to see who lives where? There's a cultural map mode, but it doesn't just show... It shows all the cultures, and there's different cultures for each race. So this doesn't help us differentiate. I don't think vampires have more bonuses. It seems like they gave everyone who was a monster the monstrous thing. Gith and the Vendori, though, were mentioned. Are these races that we could take a look at? Also, we've definitely annexed some people. No, these aren't things that we could look up. Dragon Isles themselves are dragonborn. Some of their subjects are kobolds. Got it. Okay. But I think we looked at kobold, did we not? Well, it says koboldy and draconic. Let's take a look if they have the draconic layered with the other one. So would they have draconic heritage, but do they also have... So we looked at something else that I think was kobold. No, it looks like it's just draconic. Unless we're missing some guys who are more koboldy than the others. I think these guys have all had the same primary culture. This isn't at game start though, so they could have just been annexed, the people you're referring to. Also, we're looking at the thing where it's these all these things have been just completely destroyed. Telferite, Kobold, and Draconic. Maybe this one's a little bit different. Minting bonus is weird, falls off really hard, yeah. But you could like just uncap minting. Like I think minting was capped for performance reasons. I don't know why minting I don't know, in terms of a simulation of the game, I don't know why minting should be capped. Like, minting was initially capped because of, like, foreign investment reasons, and that's no longer a thing. Even if we're uncapped, 20% minting is kind of garbage. I don't know if I think it's garbage. I think I disagree with that. That's a free money modifier. Those are good. Like, free money is significantly better than being able to just tax someone more. So here we're getting 200k for minting. So this is before modifiers. And we're getting 24... and we would be getting 64,8,567, or we would be getting like triple. We'd be getting close to triple the minting if it was uncapped here. But this is like a free money modifier, so yeah, it would be roughly triple, a little bit less than triple. And so that means we can, it's not just 600 more of income, it's 600k more of income that we could inject right into the, like, belly of our economy. This is just the uncapping it portion. So, right, which, that's not exactly what we're talking about. So we're talking about the marginal difference. What we'd be getting... So we're currently getting 30%, right? So let's just multiply. Let's just say our flat minting would be 6,500 in order to just make the math easier, right? Or 650,000, right? So this will be our flat minting, and then if we had our current modifier, which is the 30% from technology, so we'll times by 1.3. Or let's just do it 650, and this is how many thousands. So we would be getting 845,000. We could instead be getting times 1.5. So 975,000. So that represents 130k and free money modifier. It would be for us, versus like 35k if it's capped, relative to where we are now on Ravik. And that's like that's a pretty big modifier. I mean, let's look how much we're spending on construction in total. We're spending on construction in total. Let's find government wages. We're spending 235k plus this. So let's call that 2.4 million. So this would be enough to pay for 7 or 8% of our construction or something like that. Not to mention the stimulating effect of the free money modifier. And so, like, the minting is gonna be better than a 5% construction efficiency modifier, I think. Or it's going to be kind of close to the same. The construction modifier keeps the goods cheaper, but has, like, the stimulating of... No, I think we'd rather have the... I mean, I think 20% minting's kind of a little bit better. I still have to wrap my head around what I think about construction efficiency relative to, like, getting the money and spending it on construction. Because I feel like I'm missing some moving part in kind of the complex abstraction of, like, buy orders and sell orders and, like, money deletion effects and this type of stuff. But I think if you unscaled, I think the modifier would be pretty good. The thing is if it's just a third the size, then it's only paying for like 1 or 1.5% of construction, and then that's just like, that's like not very good. It's also a lot better if you have a bunch of gold mines or whatever, which is kind of a separate thing. But that's like all you're getting here, right? You're just getting the minting. That's like, so even if it's better than 5% state construction efficiency, which, yeah, I mean, I think it is, but like with some asterisks. But like also thinking it's like maybe 20% better. We're also getting a 5% infrastructure modifier, SOL modifiers here. Political strength of engineers, which is good. Minus mortality laborers is good. And this, like, it's all better. Construction efficiency is better for eco-health. More money is better for GDP. Well, it raises GDP, which has, like, a feedback effect on raising the minting more. I think that higher prices in general are, like... So when you increase the demand, I think pushing up prices in general is good, but it has a multiplicative... I don't know how I want to necessarily think about construction efficiency in terms of having a multiplicatively positive effect, which I think it does. So I'm not 100% sure how to evaluate it. There are many things that are strangely capped, like barracks and minting. I don't know why barracks are capped. Well, I mean, barracks I think are capped to differentiate between the, like... Using a cap to, like, differentiate between the different barracks laws, I guess, is a little bit weird. Wouldn't these things stack with company bonuses multiplicatively, making gold hunting good for dragons? No, they stack additively. The throughput on those buildings would stack multiplicatively. Throughput or output, but minting modifiers stack additively. And so, like, 30% or 20% minting would be significantly stronger if you didn't get minting from banking. And this, and I think eventually this, and this, right? So it's effectively diluting the efficacy. Wait, what are the production methods? They dig up dwarves. You dig them up. Everyone knows there are no dwarf women. Except for this is a matriarchy. Pushing up prices is only good in that it makes one item able to be used for multiple use cases, so construction efficiency effectively does the same. Pushing up prices makes all your industries more profitable, is the main idea. But as your industries get more profitable, you have to, like, include the dilution effect, because it's not like a straight up increase, because also what you're spending goods on has gotten more expensive, right? So we add 7% construction that we'd otherwise not be able to afford with our current economy size. This pushes up the price of construction goods, which makes all of our construction industries more profitable, but also makes what we're spending on construction more expensive. And so, but that modifier of it making it more expensive is not strong enough to overcome the positive effects of the profitability. I forget... I mean, maybe we could look at what margin it looks like in the spreadsheet, but also, like, the spreadsheet doesn't take into account, like, some other modifiers, so, like, it's not proper... the thing that we have with the spreadsheet is not equipped to compare construction efficiency to a free money modifier, because construction efficiency is operating on a different axis than the other things. Positive prices deletes money. Yeah, I know there's a money deletion effect. The money deletion effect is not strong enough to overcome the positive effect that you get from buildings being efficient. It deletes money, but it deletes money at a slower rate, which is like another reason why you can't cross-compare using the spreadsheet analysis I used. Like you could compare various economic systems with that spreadsheet thing, but you can't compare, like, it doesn't work for comparing it to state construction efficiency. That's why I don't know. My intuition is that 7.5% more minting income that could afford 7.5% more construction is worth more than 5% state construction efficiency, is my intuition. Especially because state construction efficiency, as you have more of it, is going to be, it's not going to be actually 5% more useful, right? Like if we have 10% state construction efficiency already, and we add an additional 10% state construction efficiency, that's only a 9% increase in construction relative to where we were before. And so if we're at 10% state construction efficiency, and we cover 7% of that cost with a free money modifier versus adding 5%, that 5% will only add 4.5% effective, because we're already receiving some construction efficiency modifiers. And so this, you'd also have to you'd have to know what your average construction efficiency modifier is, which sometimes is under 100, in which case state construction efficiency is way better, right? Because if you're experiencing turmoil, but like there's I can't math it like just using like quick maths. Lore-wise, the dwarves petrified themselves during a hyper war between gods. So once it was over, they'd be awakened by their deities without having to deal with the hyper war. But the war ended with the gods being sealed outside of Exether, and with them temporary destruction of magic in the world. However, some of the small hole in the spell that banished the gods let some humans breach the veil that separated the magic from the world, finally waking the dwarves up from the sheer power from the magic boom. Given it's a larger share of income, I'd agree. Yeah, but it also makes all your other construction more expensive, too. I mean, my intuition is that it's better. I just can't, like, I can't mathematically, like, prove it without doing a massive spreadsheet or something like this. You also have money deletion effects from depressed prices. So whenever you're comparing price increases are more valuable. If you actually have depressed prices, money deletions price increases are actually valuable. Like they do the reverse of deleting money. And so like so you would also have to know where you're at exactly in regards to prices to try and compare these two. But like, for example, our construction goods, the more expensive our construction goods are, the worse a money creation modifier is, and the cheaper they are, the better they are. So in this case, we have steel below base price a little bit, a lot of bit. Holy shit! But I think overall it looks like our goods are expensive. So the free money modifier, if used on construction, is not as good as it would be if these goods were cheaper. But this is like a very abstracted type of thing, right? So, yeah, I mean, you have to control for so many variables to try and compare these two modifiers, like in a way where you can be certain which one is better. But the bigger point is, I think that 20% minting is pretty solid. It actually falls off as you get more of the tax, is kind of how it falls off, I think, more than if minting weren't capped, it would still fall off as you get more tax, which is maybe fine. I mean, it'd still be decent, but as you get more of these techs, just how construction efficiency is less useful when you have more of it, minting would be less useful, or minting modifiers. Alright, another thing I'm looking forward to, working with the harvest condition stuff. Hope you like interesting conditions in your lands. Yeah, that'll be sweet too. Exether is amazing fantasy world. 1% of construction costs of free money is roughly equivalent to 1% construction efficiency, I'd say. I think that's about right. I could see it going in either direction, so I think that's about right. I think I'd probably rather have the free money modifier, but by like such a small margin that like it's like roughly actually no, I don't know what I'd rather have, actually. And the fact that I don't have an intuition as to which one is specifically better makes me think that getting 7.5% is from the minting is better. But like still overall, the draconic bonus doesn't seem as good as the dwarf bonus, even if you uncapped minting. It would be really good though. It might be the third best bonus after elves. Like right now, it just seems kind of dookie. Like once you pass 200 million GDP. Well, it's also applying to not just GDP. I don't know how to evaluate that. I don't know how much gold there is, or what percentage of your economy it's going to be with this draconic heritage. Rather have construction efficiency, but barely. Yeah, I just, it also might be early game I'd rather have minting, and later on I'd rather have construction efficiency. Because you don't get a bunch of construction efficiency modifiers as the game goes on, right? You do get a bunch of minting modifiers as the game goes on. So and it's a pretty heavy dilution in terms of the minting modifiers. I think you get up to plus 50, right? I think banking's the first one, if I'm not mistaken. We get 10%. Well, actually, we can see what we have in with these guys. But yeah, the 20% gets really heavily diluted out. So I think we're getting plus 30 from tech, right? So we can look and see how many more techs we have. 40, yeah, it is 50. 50 is over here. So it's a total plus 50% from tech. Just started at Vosmead Peaks. Any tips? Have fun. Just kind of, I mean, a lot of this stuff is... We found ourselves, let's swap to Vosmead Peaks. We found ourselves focusing on gizmos quite a bit more than, like, we did in this Ravik run. And the reason being is, I thought that the Arcana oriented us a little bit more towards gizmos overall. In particular, I think that for our 3 eventual Arcana cards that we were taking, wow, this is pretty good. What did we end up putting? I know one felt it fed into gizmos pretty strongly. Oh yeah, we used Ember of Creation as one of them, and then Manufacturing Industries Throughput, and then I think that our last one we actually used Wonder. Although, to be fair, I could see a really strong argument for Whispering of the Wandering Woods instead for our Arcana cards, but I think that oh, I didn't even realize. I don't know if Gizmos I think are magic, and so they're not, are they not, that's a dragon. They might not be manufacturing, so we might not get the throughput on them. But, this gave us explosives and steel. But, like, I think there's a lot of cloud silver, which, like, leads into the gizmos. I don't know. We were just, we didn't have a super bonus for iron and coal on them, so we kind of, like, leaned into using a lot of the PMs. In particular, the dwarf bonus is, we kind of think, the best. But I don't know how you lean into that specifically. We were for the journal entry. You have to stay on monarchy. For the journal entry to unify with Yavira, which I don't know if it's worth all the effort of and like not getting the abdication, but probably want to play for the just theminess of doing it. Something like this, because that's what the flavor for the Vosmead Peaks is. For the Vosmead Peaks, we were leaning into gizmos quite a bit, and we have found that it was really, really hard for us to get Wishstone. So I would say that going out of your way to expand in places that have Wishstone or Wishstone potential of some kind is probably something worth doing. We ended up going like up here for this, but this places that have like reflection on the water or like by lakes tend to have a lot of it. The softest spot might actually be over here, which incidentally has a lot of oil as well, in terms of it being unrecognized and this sort of thing. So if you wanted to expand into there, that maybe makes some sense. If you want to try and go to war up through here and go after a recognized country that's relatively big, but is by, you know, where some of this Wishstone stuff is, maybe up here would make some sense. And then you would have a nice kind of looking empire once you unite with Yavira. You do have to play nice with Yavira somehow while doing this, which probably damages relations. But okay. I think we're gonna call it here though. We're gonna see if anyone else is streaming Vicky on Twitch here and wrap things up, because we definitely went longer than we were planning on. Kind of got lost in the sauce at the end here. So we'll look to find ourselves. I hate that when we search Victoria 3 in the like Twitch thing, it like shows up like some chick over Victoria 3 whose name is Victoria. The truth hurts. No one is streaming in English. Not like this. Okay, maybe we just raid book Owen? What is he playing? Yeah, this looks like some type of grand strategy game, so I guess we'll raid him. Gentlemen. And, we won't leave our stream running this time, like we did last time after we AFK'd, which just renews the stream being played on Twitch. The truth hurts. So we'll raid there, and then we will send the link to the YouTubers. As well, and then we will call it a stream, boys. See you guys all later. Bye-bye now.